No pre-stream screen?
No loading screens tonight. No.
What?
Yeah, just us.
What?
Just vibing.
What?
Oh, you don't have any Lupin on the Lupin cam.
It's outrageous.
That's
Crazy.
laying over on the
Just
other
this
side.
patch of fur.
I can move it. Do you want me to adjust it? Do you want more Lupin on that cam?
We always need more Lupin.
Just joking.
More Lupin, less Julia?
Always. I will take that trade every day.
Not me.
I think 50-50 split.
Yes, half Lupin, half Julia.
No Josh.
King Solomon style, right down the middle.
Oh no.
It need a little haunch scratch. It's just waving
there's two
at
of
the
me.
camera.
This is crazy.
Are there two Jakes?
So I have some really exciting news.
Okay.
I have some very, very exciting news. My son has a job in, he works in medical machinery, like these really high-tech medical machines, and works for a place that repairs them and everything. And he was gone over the weekend to visit his girlfriend. He came back and bought me a Tesla.
Holy cow.
Whoa.
You're kidding.
What? That's awesome.
That's amazing.
I was so stoked.
Oh, that makes me feel bad.
Nice.
That's funny.
Wow. I will never trust you again.
Did you trust him already?
I'm a trusting soul. I can't lie, so I never know when I'm being gas lamped. How old is your son? That's my problem. I was like, hold
He's
on
like 18.
a second. Yeah.
Yeah, Julia,
I'm sure-
that one's on you.
I know. I'm sorry.
I got a big kick out of it, though. He was like, I got you something that you've always wanted. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just
have everything I
died
want
laughing.
already.
It was great.
That's
He's
amazing.
got such a good sense of humor.
That's great.
I have some cool news. I'm wearing a shirt that my wife made me. And it's so
Too
nice.
bad
It's got
Wash and I
thumb
can't
holes.
see it in this
And
little Discord call.
Oh, hang on. I'll screen share it to you.
No, I've seen it already.
I'm still
Old
going to
news.
screen share it, but
Peek
that's
behind
fine.
the curtain.
I haven't.
I saw Josh earlier today in this.
Ooh.
Oh, hey, look, it's that beautiful lady coming out here. Hank, you want to wave hi to the stream? Yep.
Oh, I'm going to mess up all the cameras. Get excited for that. Here we go.
That's the way it be. This is the way it be.
That's the way
This
it be.
is the way it be.
My friend Lord.
Do you know the way it be?
No.
There we go. We're back to having two of you.
Keeper of the lore.
All right, hold up.
Super Mario.
I see what he's going for.
Oh.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Okay. That was
Nailed
great.
it. That was
favorite
worth
bit.
it, I think. That was worth it.
Yeah?
That bit paid off. Worth the investment. It snowed here today. It's nice and
Oh,
wintry snowy
jelly.
outside. Lupin loved it.
That sounds like a
Jelly,
Lupin
jelly,
thing.
jelly.
Yeah. Loving
would
something
love
seems like a Lupin thing.
Lupin would.
Lupin would love
He
that.
would experience enjoyment.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Guy.
that Lupin.
I do feel the most
What would
like I'm
Lupin
gonna
enjoy?
lose him when we're out in the snow because he looks like snow that has some footprints in it. Like,
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm just like, wow, your camouflage is uncanny.
Mm-hmm. It's uncanny.
Uncanoflage.
Got him.
Yep. We both attempted.
Yeah, I respect the attempt.
Attempts were made.
I feel like we're so much more
Wizard.
chill when Cleo's not here. Like,
I don't
mean-
know if that's a good thing.
at least
but
in
I
the
agree.
pre-stream. Like, I feel like there's a level of zany that like the rest of us do it, but only when Cleo's here. Although, to be
fair.
fair,
I
I
thought-
didn't have a caffeine this evening.
I
so
thought you were the spark plugs, Josh. I'm confused.
That's
But
true. I've
Cleo
heard.
is the gas to our lamp.
Yeah, I've heard that I'm. Cleo once said that I was the spark plugs to the group's spontaneity. Or something like that.
I think you've
I
had
think we all
two
add
cafes today.
add a certain element, I think.
Yeah.
Although I will say one time Wash and I just did a stream together and we were, if I remember correctly, pretty zany, but it was more in a sarcastic sort of way.
Ah.
We did a tier list of 4Gav employees.
That's right. I remember that.
Not unlike the
Oh,
Nemmies.
I thought you were talking about. There was one that was just Radford and Owlin in the desert. The
That's
other
true, but
two
Josh
got
was
sun
DMing that.
poisoning. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy. Tonight, 2 of our party members got sun poisoning.
Yeah, it's
Well,
wow,
you're very
again.
close to the sun. It
That's
makes a lot of
true.
sense.
That's how it works.
That's true.
You can get sunburns even when there's clouds. Just be careful.
It's true.
Yeah, and sunscreen probably hasn't been invented yet. There's another untapped market for Owlin to explore.
Electric toothbrushes and sunscreen.
Yeah. The really important products that will.
He's just gonna
Change
like
the world if we were
his
off of
future
it.
is just to like stock a CVS.
That's Alan's
Yeah.
permission.
Allgreens. Owlin can take over Allgreens after they
Yeah, there we go.
were there for
Foreshadowing.
him during his rib breaking experience. He's like, this is a valuable place. We need to invest in
true.
Allgreens.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to play D&D? Should we do it? Should
Yeah.
we play D&D?
I want to
If we
play
must.
D&D.
You want to play D&D? Okay. Well, anyway, here's our intro.
Sinir, Gaunteus, Cotex, Owara. Long ago, the 4 ancients created a world in harmony. Then, everything changed when the chat emped magic. Only Kelnor, master of good vibes, could stop them, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. 2 years have passed, and 4 adventurers have discovered a conspiracy, a company selling magic. And although their roleplay is great, they have a lot of XP to earn before they're ready to save anyone. But I believe they can save the world.
Welcome back to the Wing Badger Tavern, where friends tell stories. I'm here with some of my friends. Let's have them introduce themselves. We'll just do Wash first, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm on the top. Hey, I'm Wash. I'm on the top. I'm Top Wash. And I am here to play Jebediah Peppermint, the mofo gun wizard who spits fire and fires spit. And dang it, funny insert.
Top wash only.
Off
I'll
to you,
go
Jake.
next. Yeah, I was say I just figured Julia because I'd look at the screen order whenever we do this. But my name's Jake, and I play Alan Woodrear, the Azamar Barbarian Artificer. And it is wild to me looking at our intro because there's clips in that intro from season 1 where I was in my old room with LED lights in the background and also with a headset mic instead of like a microphone. So that's just a throwback.
We'll have to
fun.
like
Cool
talk
fact.
about the character development of the players when we finish the story. Like, what arc have they been on?
That I've been on a pretty big arc, I will
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
I think Jake has the most development over like we've been playing during like core years of your life.
Yeah. I went
I'm
from
just, like,
single to
still here.
engaged during this campaign.
Yeah, you graduated middle school.
Yeah, that's crazy. I grew a beard right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
You
were
had
some
the Top
time
Gun
skips
stash
in
for a
Jake's
while?
life. I am Will-o'-the-Wisp, and I play Clara Albuquerque, and I shudder to think that I now have some friends from New York who may hear me do Clara's Brooklyn accent.
Let's go.
Oh.
I'm Josh, the Wing Badger Game Master. I play almost everybody else. Technically, our players have a couple different characters. We have 2 other players in our group who are normally here who are not here. One of them is on a ski trip and one of them is sickly ill. So we are going to just make decisions on behalf of their characters. Last time this happened, we made one of them wear a tutu for the rest of the adventures. So who knows what's going to happen to him tonight. But without further ado, let's get back into tonight's adventure. And our adventure begins in the cafeteria on board the Cugboat. Your airship, your home base, your base of operations, your mobile work site, where at the completion of our last adventure, you brought back a number of scavenged magical items to the Cugboat, and over the 6 days that it will take the Cugboat to travel from that place to the next place of interest that you've identified, there are a few important conversations that need to happen, as those items need to get divvied up to people and that sort of thing. Currently gathered in the cafeteria is Owlin, Jebediah, Laredith, and Fox. Fox, having fallen ill, sits at the far end of a long cafeteria table from everyone. Nobody wants to necessarily go near Fox. And Clara, who couldn't resist being around the horde distribution process here at Four Guys Ventures and Vibes. Fox coughing idly from the end of the table as Jeb kind of takes the lead. Jeb, you at this point have kind of a manifest in your hands of magic items that have been identified by Laredith, but she's here in case you need help identifying what things are, how they work, or anything like that. So go ahead and take us away, Jebediah.
All right. So I think I may have gotten what Fox had, so bear with me if I gotta cough on some stuff. Don't worry, I disinfected all of these things, though. They should be good to go.
Technically, if you disinfected them and then coughed on them again, like now, for example, that wouldn't
So
be much
anyway.
good, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, we got some stuff that I think is going to be pretty useful. I got a little pile over here for Fox. First things first, I'm not sure what to do with. No problem. All right, so first things first, we got a whole bunch of armor that I don't know is going to be very useful.
I'll take it.
Because a lot of us, we'll get there. But there was quite a cachet of adamantine armor. We've got a full set of plate, a full set of scale mail, a chain shirt, which is like a little on the lighter side, so Fox or Bruiser could probably use that, and a set of chain mail. So we can kind of divvy those out. I mean, none of them will work for me. They're all way too heavy, and while it looks like they will fit you, Owlin, it looks like they would probably be kind of restrictive. So I'll leave that up to you whether or not you want to dive in and use one of those.
I will.
They're pretty stout.
Yeah, I will think on it. Do some looking and seeing if any of them will improve my my defenses or not. I suspect, similar to you, that they may do more harm than good for me. But I'll think about it.
We could always, says Laredith, adjusting her big round spectacles, we could always place them into storage here in the Cugboat so that they're available to the other adventurers at Four Guys Ventures and Vibes should we need to send them on an adventure that poses more danger to their person than perhaps they are prepared for.
You know, I also haven't
that's what I
gotten
was thinking
paid for
too,
my
yeah.
catering since I've been here. So, you know, yeah,
So like,
you could
on
fill
to
my
the next
hoard a
one.
little bit. Had to lighten
yeah, so
it
we
in
also
Fladena.
got, let's see here, Owlin, one thing that would be good for you are these. And he pulls out two very large gauntlets.
I do have somewhat similar, and Alan will hold up his what are they called? They are called bracers of defense. On his arms. I have something similar. What are those?
So these, I don't know too much about giants, but these seem to be blessed with the strength of a certain class of giant called an ogre. And they're pretty hefty. Side note from Wash, they'll make your strength score 19.
Oh,
While you wear them.
While you wear them. And
Sure.
all of these so far do require attunement. Well, the armor doesn't, but these do require attunement. So that seemed like, I mean, honestly, I thought it would be funny if like I wore them, because then that would like kind of come out of nowhere.
Sure, that is fair.
But strength is like your MO, and having your MO be would be a cool BO to the P. I don't know.
I get what you're.
Quick reminder from the DM here: you can be attuned to 3 items at a time. Alan, you are attuned to 3 at the moment.
Okay, what's my third?
Bracers of defense, the rod of intelligence, and your scimitar of speed.
The scimitar.
Oh, the scimitar is an attuned item. I forget. Okay.
Which, by the way, as I see Alan kind of like looking over his gear, not sure if you like. I'll let you be the tactician of this, but again, this is probably another one that you're really only going to be proficient with. Jeb turns around and walks to like a longer table behind, and stretched out about 5 or 6 feet long is he like pulls this cloth off the top of it. Has a really ornately carved glaive, really long sturdy haft with a short curved blade on the front of it. This is a glaive of warning. So it like alerts you when it like alerts you to things that are around you. Kind of gives you like a bit of a sixth sense. Mechanically speaking, you can't be surprised when you have it.
Gotcha.
But tactically speaking, it's two-handed. It has a reach. The reach property, so it gives you an extra 5 feet of reach, which could be pretty huge. But it's heavy, which means small creatures can't use it, and it requires special training. It's a martial weapon.
And it has a 10-foot reach.
Right, it gives you an additional 5 feet of reach, so you can attack 10 feet away from you, which could be pretty big.
Yes, that is quite interesting. I will note some of its benefits I do already kind of have due to my own barbarian training, such as I already have advantage. I don't want to speak in character for that. I already do have advantage on being surprised, and I have advantage on initiative.
Well, this says you can't be surprised.
Yes, so. I know.
Right. So it would be better than that, but yes.
I'm just talking on things that like if we're getting into thinking about usefulness.
Yeah. It also, along with the surprise, it gives you an advantage on initiative rolls.
Yes, and Alan already has that.
Gotcha.
So I think the ogre strength gauntlets might be more useful to Alan, I think, than the glaive. The thing about the or how much damage does a glaive do? Maybe that's something I should take into consideration.
It's 1d10.
Okay.
Well, isn't Fox just like a little string bean guy? You know, is that something that would make him a little more useful?
Well, the thing about that is that the glaive is a long weapon, and so you kind of have to like
I'm
really...
talking about the gauntlets, you know, like they go nice on your wrists, go well with your tutu.
Normally I like to kind of attack with like my nimbleness, you know, like my agility is kind of,
You're looking real
the
agile,
core
baby.
ability of my, well, okay, thanks, Clara. But like in general, when I fight, I like to use like my agility to like get around and, sneak up on people and stuff. So it's not, it might be good. I mean, if no one else wants, I'll take them. I think it could be cool, but like, I don't necessarily need to be like super strong to do most of what I do. You know what I'm saying?
I do understand that. And I think that, those gauntlets, I think I will perhaps sub out or swap my bracers of defense, and Alan will kind of slide them off his wrists, and I think substitute for those gauntlets of ogre strength. The glaive, however, I don't know if will be as useful to me. I think a lot of the things that it helps with I already somewhat have covered, and I also do really still find a lot of practicality in my scimitar of speed.
It would always be possible, theoretically speaking, for you to determine based on the day's events which of the items you'd like to be attuned to. You would just need to go through the attunement process for that item, which will take a significant amount of time. So you'd want to do it in something like this, where you're traveling between one place and another, but you think that one item might be more valuable in the next place. I will make sure it gets to the armory. And Laredith kind of adjusts her spectacles. Fox coughs from the other end of the table. If you're not going to use those bracers, like maybe that could be good for me, since I'm not maybe as buff as you are in a fight or whatever.
The bracers, you can't wear armor and you can't have a shield for the magical effect to take.
Well, am I wearing armor? I actually don't know that answer. Fox looks down at himself. Do I wear any armor?
I think it's on brand that Fox forgets that he's wearing a changeable like a magically changeable armor.
Oh, because it's a tutu right now. So
you got a nice skirt and you got nice legs.
My tutu of defending myself. You're right. That is.
If we do put it in the armory, Radford would probably be the only one else who could use it because he doesn't use armor.
Got it. I will see to it that it is added to the manifest. And Laredith adjusts her spectacles, pulls a pencil from behind her ear, and starts taking some notes on a parchment.
So do you all just have like a group horde? This is weird.
That's confidential information.
Do I not?
But
like,
yes,
do I not?
I mean,
work
yes, we
here?
do. We have a company horde, so to speak.
How do I get in on this company horde?
Did you sign the paperwork we gave you yet? Are you a part of the company? Are you an employee?
I don't remember any papers.
I don't remember doing an onboarding with you.
Well, after an onboarding,
was there a safety video on a televibe?
Yes. I don't know if we finished editing it, but yes.
She might be a 1099 independent contractor.
This is fair.
I'm not actually on the payroll.
independent.
Well, I mean, that tracks.
Somewhere in the airship, Zal is like sitting up at a desk working hard on the paperwork, trying to decide what Clara should be. She's got the 1099 and the full-time employee paperwork in front of her, and she's like, she doesn't know because no one will tell her what the pay should be because y'all demoted Joffrey and made him a janitor. And so she's just like sitting there like, I don't know, the paper never made it past the accounting department.
Well, I got my own business to think of, so I am more independent, but I'm gonna need some horde some of these days here. So if you pick up anything shiny that can't go to muscles over here, I'm very interested.
We'll keep you notified. We also do have gold that works pretty well in a horde.
I love some gold. Wingle digits. They just they're
Fox, you'd be willing
technology.
to donate like all that gold you found, right?
Right.
I don't know if now's a good. I'm not feeling.
Sounds like a
well,
winner.
So right now is a bad time to kind of.
Sounds like we're gonna have another wager.
All right. Last, we've got a couple more things. There's two here that I think would work well for Fox. This musical instrument, this saxophone here.
Whoa!
We'll get
let me see that, man. You like hand it down.
Pipe a riff off of this. And then we've also got something called a medallion of thoughts. And he holds up like this little medallion that kind of has like this golden skull on the end with these two little reddish gem eyes. And up and down the chain are like these little alternating gold and red beads. Lets you see into people's minds and catch their surface thoughts, and but if you like dig into it a little deeper, like with time and concentration, you can like feel out people's deeper thoughts. Useful for a lot of us, but I know Fox is a quick talker, and so that would kind of give him some insider information on that.
Yes, I think that would be quite practical.
Also, I was thinking this might work well for Bruiser too. Bruiser is pretty insightful,
and he's got the big network of people.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, so that's when he kind of wheels and deals with his contacts, that could be useful there too. So Let's see. We got a Pearl of Power, which is pretty much going to work for me. Well, I mean, I'm kind of... It essentially would let me, like, recover magical energy. Throughout the day, it will absorb magical power from the... Well, if it were bathed in Sacrium, it would absorb it from that. But if it's in the presence of the rod, one of the pieces of the rod of 7 parts, it absorbs some magical energy from that. And you can use it. I could use it in lieu of spell components and like spell energy. If you cast a spell, you could, instead of drawing it from your normal sources or like from my spell shells, you could like draw it out of this pearl. So
Interesting.
So I was thinking, hey, you know, I got so many spell shells that I can throw throughout the day. More is always better, you know, in the spirit of it's my MO, make your MO better, kind of like those gauntlets.
Yes.
But it also makes me think, for you guys who do have a couple spells here and there, you might benefit from having a few more that might like round things out. I don't know.
I don't feel that way about myself necessarily. What is conflicting about the two types of training that I have had is that, you know, things that I learned with my soldier training are one thing. However, when I go into my rage state, I actually cannot cast any spells using my artificer training. So because of those kind of conflicting things, I don't know if I need to necessarily concentrate on enhancing my artificer spells necessarily. I'm more interested in the tinkering and knowledge side of it anyways. So I don't feel the need to use something like the Pearl of Power.
Well,
but I think it's quite
also
practical for you too.
It's also for lower spells. About a third level spell is what it could supplement, and it's only once per dawn. So again, maybe Fox or Bruiser, but they don't cast too many spells, so that's why I was just gonna kind of hold on to it. But
Yes, I think that's fair.
if they sober up a little bit and it seems useful to them, I'm not 100% sold on it being for me. We have a couple other ones here that are consumable. We have a potion of vitality. This one removes any exhaustion and cures any disease or poison affecting you.
That's very handy.
So we're gonna, yeah. Also, while it is in your system, when you rest, like game mechanic wise, hit point recovery is just max die.
Oh, nice.
So like when you roll hit die to heal, yeah, it's just max dice, which is kind of nice.
That is nice.
That's so we can just keep that on somebody and keep it near them. The exhaustion could actually be pretty awesome depending upon stuff that we can do with our abilities. Like if something involves exhaustion or if, pushing through, we seem to run into that kind of stuff more than we do necessarily like poisoning and diseases.
Sure.
Plus I think we have magic to take care of diseases and poison. We've also got some universal solvent, which is great for melting glue. It will dissolve any kind of glue, especially like the even like the super duper ultra high, probably permanent for the rest of existence type of glue. It's a bit of a niche case, but if we were to do something like glue a trap in place and splash it onto or something like it, we could probably find some crazy use for it. But there's that.
Well, that seems like it should go to the sick, shifty one over here. She points a finger at Fox.
Yes.
I can hang on to it. Sure. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
And then Owlin, this last one, I don't know who it should go to because it's less about a person's ability and more about their creativity. And he sets down a little case, this little wooden box. It's got two little notches on the front, and you plip, plip, And nice. I rolled a 4 on my D4 DM.
Nice.
There are 4 little pots inside. One looks like a skull, one looks like a frog with like the top opened up on it, and one looks like a little fish holding its mouth open. And another one is like a strawberry, and on the top of them are these little holes or little pots, and inside of them are these different paints. These are which god was it, DM? Was it Kelnor's?
Yeah, Kelnor's. Kelnor's Marvelous Pigments.
Kelnor's Marvelous Pigments. And I think it would probably be better just to show you what they do than tell you. And he takes this little quill. There's a couple different styled ones in it. This one looks like a carrot. And he dips it into the little strawberry one. And on the table, he draws a little peppermint, a little circle, like a little peppermint leaf. And when he connects it and kind of colors it in, there's a mild little shimmer that goes across the surface of it. And he picks it up and hands it to Owlet.
When Alan feels it, is it like a real peppermint leaf?
It is a peppermint.
Alan takes a little nibble off of it.
Tastes exactly how you'd expect it to.
Interesting. That is quite marvelous.
Oh,
quite marvelous.
Good. This. You know what we could have done with that in Gaim? Does that just make food?
There's a lot of stuff.
Is it just food making? Oh,
it's not just food. So essentially, like, you could walk up to an impregnable fortress, and we could draw a door into the side of it, turn the handle and open it and walk in. We could draw or paint all sorts of things. There's only so much. Like, this is a consumable, but
it runs out. I see.
Yeah, but there's I mean, if I did the math, I mean, blah, blah, blah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Scratches a couple of things up. Yada, yada, yada. About 1,000 square feet.
Wow.
I mean, that's like if you like color it all in or whatever. So there's a lot. But, I mean, this could be useful from anything like, say, the ship hull breaks. You know, and we just draw a replacement panel, or you know, I mean, there's so many options here. It's quite fantastic.
That is.
Never heard of something like that. That is the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
So I don't know who it should go to is the thing. Because, like, I mean, you could imagine what Fox would pull off with this. You could imagine what Bruiser could pull off with this, or you in your inventions, or me in my contingency plans. Like, there's a lot of potential in this little thing.
What happens if you drew a leaf and it's a pretty good leaf? Like, you ate it. Looks like it must have been pretty realistic. What if you draw something that's not really real? Like, I'm thinking, what if somebody was bad at art, had some art block? Would this not work for them anymore? Because I would like this for myself, but that seems to be a theme for me, and y'all are more of a communist society. But
I mean, we're more like a capitalist society, but
But
I don't know.
You're not dragons, is all I'm saying. But
yes.
But I do know, I've been talking around to everybody who's coming in and into the kitchens, and Riley's got a pretty good hand for art. So if you needed somebody who could draw accurately, I think she's probably your best bet. But if you wanted somebody who could draw creatively, come up with ideas, maybe she needs to work with somebody else. She could get one of these. She's pointing to her earring that allows her to speak to Bruiser. You could just have her on hand to start drawing things as things come up. But I don't know.
That is true.
That's a fantastic idea if we wanted or needed accuracy. To like message back on the ship and say, hey, we need this, send one down or something like that.
Do you know, Jeb, whether it needs accuracy? Because that is something I could easily test right now. Like,
do I know what?
Whether it needs accuracy?
Let's see. I mean, Jeb like flips through his notes. It takes about 10 minutes to cover 100 square feet, so there's a little bit of time. Anything that you make is non-magical, obviously, so it only creates mundane stuff.
So you couldn't draw his scimitar and get another one.
Right.
While Jeb is doing that, Alan just might take the quill and like just do a little tiny dip, and he's going to draw something that looks like kind of just like a scribbled mess. Like it's not huge, like it's not something very big, it's like a small scribble, but in his mind he's intending that it's a delicious chocolate bar. What happens?
Get the sense that somewhere out there the universe is frantically researching this problem.
While he's doing that, Jeb's still reading it off.
Are you gonna try to help Fox look older?
No, my intention is that it is a chocolate bar, but I'm intentionally testing the limits of the need for accuracy.
There is a limit to the material. It looks like there's almost like a value marker. Things can't be worth more than 100 or than 25 wingle digits. So if you were to like make a stack of, I don't know, like paint a case of 20,000 wingle digits, they would look authentic, but
they'd be counterfeit.
Upon close inspection, it would reveal that they're made of like paste or like some other worthless material, but they would look authentic. Also, you can paint energy, but it quickly dissipates. So if you were to like paint a fire, once you finished painting it, it would boom into flame. But since there's like no fuel there, it would like burn out. Right, but it would still do it.
Yeah.
Does this need to be near the your pokey magic poke?
Yes, this definitely does draw from the weave. So it would need to be near some source of magic to draw the energy to create the stuff.
Alan, roll a performance check using intelligence as the modifier.
Okay. That's a crooked die. I'm going to re-roll. 13.
13. Your scribble of a chocolate bar, when you finish and it becomes three-dimensional, is like it's 3D and it is a chocolate bar, but it looks exactly like your scribble. And so as you pick it up, it's got like weird angles cut into it and stuff, it like crinkles weirdly. You try to pull the wrapper off, but it just kind of flakes off because the wrapper doesn't really connect in all the right places. But it does create a chocolate bar. So it seems like it figured out your intent, but the quality of your drawing affected the quality of what it created.
Sure.
Laura
it seems as though the magic...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's chocolate. It's not exactly expensive. It seems as though it reads the intention accurately, but if the drawing is inaccurate, that will affect the overall quality of the final product. I guess that is a nice middle ground between what we were possibly expecting. I mean,
it's nice to know it works both ways. If we need to draw a rough door, it doesn't matter who, but if we need to draw a convincing one, then we could... conscript Riley to do it.
Yes. My thought is, I see that there's 4 separate pots of the pigment in the case.
Oh yeah.
Is there a way that we could divide this amongst you, me, Bruiser, and I almost said Cleo and Fox?
In the realm of reality that I understand to be true, I don't see why not. Wink, wink, DM, wink, wink.
We all get 250 square feet.
I'll allow it.
Unless...
So, to be clear, the pigments are meant to be multiple colors. So, like the pots of the pigment are multiple colors, I think. So, by dividing them, what you're really doing... Like, it's still... Oh, no, it says each pot of paint. So, each of you gets 1,000 square feet of surface to work with, and objects up to 10,000 cubic feet. You can't make expensive stuff. If you try and make something of a greater value than 25 gold pieces, it makes the object, but on close inspection, it reveals that it's made from like paper mache and glue. And Yeah, but yeah, you could give each person a pot, and they would get the full 1,000 square feet.
Cool. Interesting. We'd just be drawing in monochrome.
Yes, you would each be drawing in
CYMK.
monochrome.
Well, I don't see why we don't do that in that case, because you were correct, Jeb, in your assumption that we all would have creative applications for the material.
Yeah, there's not very many use cases where it wouldn't be useful. It's quite odd.
So I agree with you. I think because of that, we may want to split this up.
I do believe it's worth noting, says Laredith, that one of the use cases you discussed was painting a replacement section of hull on the Cugboat. I don't believe that application would work, although it would be ideal to find Kay and check with him, because I believe that Kelnor's pigments require a surface to be painted onto in 2 dimensions, and then the thing that you paint becomes real, much like how you painted upon the table and then there was something on the table, or if you were to paint a door into a wall. But I don't believe you could paint on, say, thin air and something new would materialize.
Well, I guess in that case, we would draw the replacement piece on something else, and then
that would
move
work.
it over and then nail it.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Like if we drew it on the deck and then mounted it in place, like as a patch or something to that effect.
That would work.
We could even draw the nails and hammer that we used to.
That is
nail
true.
it into place. Yes.
Alan's like imagining getting to not have to wear his tool belt ever again. He's back to like just briefs. Because it was boxers, now it's briefs. Like just briefs.
Yep.
Well, if you're going to use it for something practical, I'm going to recommend you do not let Riley see it, because I think she would want to use it all up for her creative exploits, and perhaps they would not be very practical.
Well, this is company hoard, so not for recreational purposes. I would hope Riley would understand that, but I guess that has yet to be proven.
Artists got to make their art, honey. If you're not a creative type, then you're not going to understand.
That is fair. Was that the last of the items on your report, Jeb?
Oh, let me see. The gauntlets. We got the pearl, the thought medallion. We got the saxophone, the glaive, potion of vitality, universal solvent, pigments, and all that adamantine armor. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. But I mean, all in all, a pretty good haul.
Yes.
Even if most of it looks like it's probably going to benefit the crew. I mean, that's not a bad thing to bolster up the crew.
And then obviously, before we went out into the strange, scary ghost ship area, we distributed some of my things like the charms of air bubble and cold resistance, etc. One thing we didn't touch on was a bunch of spell scrolls and a spell book. Or did we? Did I give those to you, Jeb?
I received 2 spells. One was mirror image, which should be nice defensive wise for me. I was kind of like, I can't wear any of this cool armor. Mirror image is going to be pretty great for me in that regard, though.
Sure.
And then there was another one
of the stuff that I discussed before we left and fought the Sorrowsworn. Did I give you any of that stuff? I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember getting a spell book. I remember finding a couple spells with that library golem, which, by the way, dang, did we pick up that library golem and bring him with us? Because he seems like he would be very useful to reprogram. We should go back and get him or something.
A manual of clay golems actually was in the stuff that I found, or the report that I have on the ship. In fact, here, Alan's going to
pull up the original ship's manifest.
He's just gonna show Jeb his report that he got, and the real version of that is me sending the link to it to Wash. We distributed all of the charms of air bubble and the potions of air bubble and the potions of cold resistance, etc. But I trust you to take a look at that spell book. Otherwise, some of those spell scrolls we could either distribute among ourselves or into the company hoard or anything like that.
I love that somehow your company accounts have become the company horde. I'm a big fan.
I
Yeah.
like that as well.
DM.
Yeah.
This 8th level control weather spell, is that the same one that I have record of here? Or do we have 2?
You no, I think it's separate. I think you found a spell scroll in the library boat, and I think
I
this
did.
was already on board your current
Yes,
ship.
this was already on.
Oh, nice. So we got 2 of them. Sweet.
Yes.
Okay.
Clara is kind of like frowning to herself at the end of the table, like considering this strange world where people share things. And she pulls out of her apron a cipher of invisibility that was never used during the heist episode, and slaps it on the table and is like, "This might be more useful for someone else. You know, it behooves me in general to be seen."
That is a fair point.
That tracks.
and
Yeah.
We
Don't say I
thank
never
you for
did
your
nothing for you.
contribution. Yes, we would not say that. We definitely would not say that.
Oh, thanks, darling.
Alan will like slide, like kind of slide the cipher down to Fox. And say, I think this fits you the most.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And Fox puts it in his pack, where all things go to be lost. Just sticks it in his bag.
Ain't that the truth? Wait, you need to reorganize that thing, man. Keep your pack in order.
I'm really not up to arguing about this with you right now.
Yeah. Wow, there's some interesting things in here.
With a loud the wooden door to the kitchen swings open as Gunnar backs out through it with a huge pot of soup in his hands. Right, I got some soup finished for everybody. Is anyone hungry for soup? I know it's about lunchtime, and Clara, I was expecting you to come in and take over, but since you didn't, I just made the recipe I knew. And he's got on the same apron that he had on in the heist and everything, but it's just a huge thing of soup, and he's got a giant ladle sticking out of it. He forgot bowls. Oh, shit, I need to get bowls. Hang on. And he just and like sets this giant pot of soup on the table between the 4 of you. I'll go get bowls. I'll be right back. And he walks out of there.
Oh my
Alan,
goodness, what did you cook? And she sprints to the kitchen to see if he's used every ingredient or if they still have other food left.
Alan will like peek over the edge of the soup pot and kind of like raise an eyebrow and go, "Well, it at least looks well stirred."
Clara,
Yeah, it's not separating at all.
you find that a few of the ingredients remain. Gunnar did not use everything up.
We may need to use some of those magic-y pigment things, like just to refill my stocks.
Jake, on Gunnar's behalf, can you roll a performance wisdom check to see how good his soup is?
Oh, I gotta pull up his character sheet to remember what his wisdom is.
That's okay. Wash is looking at a list anyway while we meander through that.
There we go.
Here, I'll put Gunnar
His
up
wisdom
there.
isn't terrible.
Here's Gunnar.
Oh, he got a middle of the road 12.
Nice. Gunnar with his middle of the road 12. So it's an average soup, Clara. You could do
Yeah.
much better, of course, but
Well, it's not salad
passable.
this time. So that's an improvement.
can I
DM.
can I have some of that soup for my throat? Gunnar brings him a bowl. Right, of course, yeah. And I'll bring the soup over to him, you know. And he brings it over, sets it down in front of Fox, who just like downs it in one go. You asked a DM question.
Whose spellbook is this? Can I like make an Arcana check to see if I can determine whose it is?
Sure.
I'm good at Arcana. Ooh, and that's a good roll.
Ooh.
That's a 17 on the die. So, oh, and we leveled up. So that's
Yeah.
20, 31.
Nice.
31. Dang.
I'm plus 14 to Arcana now.
As you have grown as a wizard, You have become a bit more studious. You've copied more spell scroll. It's expanded beyond what it used to be, which is you kind of tinkering, right? You had your Grandpa Cole's book, and you had sort of an engineering mind a little bit, where it was like, oh, well, if this one does that, maybe I could do it this way, and it would do something different. And you've kind of branched out from that to now like, okay, what if I could build on other people's work? And so you are starting to recognize the sort of personal signature that every wizard leaves on their own work. And you've been starting to realize that you leave your own personal signature on the spells that you cast and the way that they work. And so even though the spellbook is not signed, or perhaps the cover has worn away and kind of torn off in the poor conditions of that library of the ship here where the spellbook was found, this was among the sort of debris and detritus that was left over after the shipwreck, this spellbook. So you don't have an actual name on there, but you are starting to recognize that in addition to names, there are also groups of wizards or orders of wizards who, if they study together, eventually become similar enough that they start to leave their own mark on their work. And this one, most notably, you don't get a name of the spellcaster, but you do get the sort of imprint or the sort of tendencies in like the script writing and some of the ways that they formally arrange their runes, and they use the formal case for that instead of the informal case. You pick out the identity of a powerful group of druids who trained in the Jungle of Songs along with an order of wizards. And so as the two groups merge together, learning from each other and kind of creating this sort of unified guild or really college as it became, it became a college in Arivale, which is near the Jungle of Songs. It is from the Udel tribe of wizards and druids, and that's spelled Udel, the Udel tribe. That you have found.
That Udel. Yes, I also wasn't sure of the origin of that spell book. It's quite interesting.
Do you need me to blow it up for you? I could.
No,
I could do it. I've got stuff here. I could explode it.
You do well at that.
Yes,
I'm just kind of not really bummed, but like I kind of wish I'd have had this sooner. There's a lot of really good stuff in here that I could transcribe, but as you know, man, everything takes time. Everything takes time. It's all about picking which one to focus on.
The constant struggle of the intelligent mind.
Yeah. Yep. If only I had more time.
Well,
or more intelligence.
That is the constant give and take of, I guess, maybe in some ways the way that you and I think about things, Jeb. But either way, do we know how much longer we have until we reach the pillars? Is that?
Yeah,
do we have any sort of ETA on that?
You've probably got it'll probably be today or tomorrow that you reach the pillars. Okay. That's why this is something that probably keeps getting procrastinated on, divvying out the magic items. Yeah, and finally it's like the issue's been forced, probably by Laredith, who's like, y'all are gonna die if you don't use the equipment available to you. And so you're in the next day or two, you should be arriving at the pillars. And actually, if you were to go and stand up on the upper decks, what you would see off in the distance is, you've got Stainless to your right, to the north of you. You've got the continent of Kotix to the left or south of you, and then directly ahead are the pillars of Eternal Vigil. And you're now close enough that you're beginning to appreciate the fact that these are pillars that are 30 miles by 30 miles.
Yeah.
They are just massive in both directions. For reference, for those of you listening at home, that is 5 Mount Everests tall and 1 Mount Everest wide. So these pillars are gigantic, and the mist that shrouds them at sea level reaches about half of a Mount Everest up, so about 3 miles up. Now the airship is, using the thrusters to their full capacity. You are at the 6 mile altitude level, so the kind of mist that collects at the base of the towers and creates this untraversable or this unnavigable stretch of sea, which is about, I would say 90 to 120 miles in diameter. That mist is not fully up here with you. You can see the large kind of black stone towers as they stretch vertically, but there are little wisps of it that kind of trail up. And so from time to time, depending on the weather and the temperature and stuff, sometimes it's tighter and sometimes it's looser. It seems like as you're approaching the towers that you're going to be hitting them in a bit of a cold front. In a bit of a warm front. And so you can expect the mist to kind of be spiraling up towards you and perhaps even get to the point where it starts to provide a little bit of concealment to you, but also maybe cause some challenges for you if that mist begins to reach you.
So assuming, the bulk of the meeting that we had below decks is kind of done, Alan will go up to the upper deck and actually go to the converted spa that kind of became the war room sort of area. How come I can't see my character?
I just moved him up there for you. If you zoom out, you'll see him. He'll appear there.
No, I have like vision blockage.
How about now?
There it is. Now I can see him. Cool.
Fixed it.
Sweet.
Never happened.
No, it's okay. Alan will spend some time in there, and he will spend probably the rest of the day, unless he's called upon, to continue to he wants to spend some time just to specifically look at these, or think on and calculate these air currents that he's heard about around the pillars, and try to essentially calculate the spot that they should try to beeline towards, to where the most likely spot where if Kay's airship was there, where would Kay be adrift?
That makes sense.
Trying to do some navigational math to try to estimate that spot.
That makes sense. Laredith is going to go back to her workshop in the aft storage compartment of the lowest deck of the ship. Jeb, what are you doing the last day?
I'm thinking I may just spend the day transcribing spells. Because there's a couple in here that could be really useful.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
Fox's cold does not seem to get any better, and so he's going to spend the time in bed. Clara, what are you up to over the course of the last day?
Have we fully scavenged the ship?
Yes.
Are there any uncovered corners? Okay. Well then, Clara will probably do some inventorying of the kitchen and meal prepping for the next few days, and just get things, get some rations prepared for everybody.
Especially if they're planning to climb the towers, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, pack things up so that they have some food that can be sustained for a few days without storage, and
Gunner's probably in there helping as well.
It takes her about twice as long to do these things when Gunner is present. So she's
Gunner's trying to learn, okay? He wants to learn a new skill.
We all start somewhere, but sometimes when your instinct is to destroy, maybe you don't belong in the kitchen.
It's just weird for me putting ingredients together and mixing it all up in a way where it's supposed to make something instead of, normally I unmake things.
Well, if you think about the burritos, there is some explosive properties.
Right. That's fair. Yeah. Right.
She's going to get him working on the burritos.
Sure. So Gunner's got a big wide surface and he's just rolling burritos. Okay, you've got Zopf and Mockery on lookout duty as the rest of you are going about your business. Did we say what Jeb is doing? We talked to Jeb, right?
Transcribing.
That's right.
Transcribing spells.
Yeah. So Owlin, you're on the upper deck, and at this point, you're probably half a day's journey from the Pillars of Eternal Vigil, and Mockery, kind of walks in. She's been on lookout duty up on top of the old spa in the nest. And so she walks in and she just kind of leans back in one of the chairs. She's just taking like a 5-minute break or whatever. She lights a quick cigar, leans back, kind of kicks her feet up on the table, making sure not to block the part of the charts you're using. And she goes, so, do you think this is going to work? Like, really?
That is an interesting question. Because I guess my knee-jerk response is that it has to. But I guess that doesn't mean that's not exactly a direct answer to what you asked.
Yeah, I want to know if you think that it's going to work. I know you're going to do it. I just don't know if it's going to work out, you know? And maybe
Yes,
it's not. Maybe we shouldn't do it. I just don't know if anyone's actually considered that possibility.
That is an interesting possibility. I guess the way that I have been thinking about it, and I guess the way that was very present in the forefront of my mind when we left Gaim, is that if we don't try, then I don't think there's a chance that the world exists in the same way that it ever has. I think that it's almost impossible, or I need to stop myself from thinking that it won't work. Because if I do, then what's the point? I have to think that this will work in order for me to even have any sort of motivation to look at this map, to even think about the possibility of finding K. Hell, if we don't find K, then I do not know. Alan is holding this map, and then he just like sets it down on the table as if he's like realizing it for the first time. If we don't find K, then I don't know what I'll do. Alan kind of stands up from his chair. I literally, in without the slightest hint of metaphor or exaggeration, I literally do not know what I will do if we can't find K. So I don't know. I don't know if this will work.
You keep talking about go back to the way things were, but it's been 3 years. Is that necessarily is that the best thing to go back? You know, I don't know these answers. I've been on the mountain for most of this time, but on that mountain, we talk a lot about trying to balance, the virtues of considering the right outcome and the cost of inaction. And so we talk about how important it is to be prudent when we make big decisions, big sort of, how you say, life-altering decisions. And it seems like this is the kind of thing that would alter a lot of lives. And maybe they've already been altered and they've found a way. Maybe it's not best to put them back how they were. Maybe people are resilient. Maybe they find a solution for themselves, and now we risk taking that away from them.
I see what you're saying, and I think the reason why taking things back to how they were kind of came out of me there is when, after the darkening, I found magic to be just one of the most interesting subjects and forces in the history of Urda. And the reason why I left Stainless and even ran into Jeb and Fox and he kind of pauses, and Zothkug is because I wanted to find out why the magic was gone and try to, and it was a crazy idea then, and it still is now, even though we might be able to bring the magic back. But I think you're right that, in 3 years, a lot of things have changed, and I don't think if we succeed, we're necessarily taking things back to how they were. And I think I understand that now. But hopefully what we'll be doing is bringing things back to the right balance.
Balance of what?
A balance of the good things that magic can bring, and also the good things that innovation and technology can bring. I don't think that some of these things that the aboleths have created or their cronies have created are necessarily inherently bad. We utilize them a lot ourselves. It's more the method in which they were created. Taking away a force from the world that should be democratized, people should have access to. And I mean, Jeb's whole reason for doing this is because the weave is important for the afterlife and moving on to different planes of existences. And without that, it's just important to him and to me, or us by extension, that we restore that. So no, I don't think it'll be taking things back to the way they were, but I think to me it's pretty obvious that what the aboleths are doing is a net bad for people. But if we're able to stop them, then maybe some of the things that they have created that aren't so bad can find a way to integrate into everyone's lives, but without the danger of taking magic away in its natural form, if that makes sense.
It's a good mission, boss. I hope we live to see it.
Thank you.
She
I hope so too.
tosses her cigar on the ground, pulls her feet off the table, her sort of monk boots, her mountain hiking boots, stomping out the little ember as she clops back across the wood out through the door, climbs back up into the nest, and you kind of hear the wood creak a little bit as she sits back into her normal position on the aft castle of the Cug boat, kind of keeping a lookout. Keeping a lookout is becoming less and less useful as you approach the Pillars of Eternal Vigil. The rising warm air from the lower levels, bringing the mist up, is impacting the colder air of the upper atmosphere and condensing to create snow clouds. And so even though it is nearing the end of summer, you're beginning to approach little wispy white clouds that are getting denser and denser as the Cug boat gets closer and closer to them. Wash, how is Jeb's transcription going as he works maybe by himself on the cafeteria table, with Gunnar occasionally bringing him a burrito to keep him sustained?
It's going well. One of the spell scrolls, the spell scroll of guards and wards, has been consumed in the process of adding it to his spell book. And then the other one, he's still working to transfer from the spell book. But as he's been working on this, he's pulled a lieutenant. Let's say, you know what? How did our, what's his name?
Who?
I want to say Ron, but I don't think that's right.
Ronald the intern?
Yeah, I was right. Yeah. How is Ronald the intern, the middle manager, the intern, been faring
Ronald the
in
middle
reputation
manager,
these days?
Ronald the middle manager, the intern, is somewhere in the lower level of the ship, probably in one of the bunk rooms that has been kind of retro. He's still just an middle manager intern, so he works in his bunk room as well. He's got a little desk that's been crammed into the corner, where he's got like a little inkwell and his different parchments that he can keep notes on and stuff. And he's been setting employee schedules and things under Yaz's careful eye of supervision, making sure that the different shifts on board the tugboat get handed out where they need to. If there's any kind of disciplinary actions that are, not super serious, then we'll delegate them to Ronald to give him the experience. And he also has in his closet, like next to his 3 identical company outfits, there's also a small scroll case filled with letters of recommendation that has been writing him like updated letters of recommendation that he gets over time, so that if he ever is ready to like jump out into the world and apply for a job in the big city, he's got his little recommendation letters, and he's got a resume that's got like, it's like covered in red ink. Like he keeps crossing things out and changing what things are and trying to write them in a way that's more advantageous to his image and whatever that's sitting in there. But he spends most of his time in there unless he's coming out for food. He's just constantly at his desk, a little bit like Percy Weasley in the later Harry Potter books, where he like just gets so excited about his sort of nothing job. He's kind of like that. He's like closeted away, like, I'm gonna get these reports done for early because I need to, he's just like he's always on his game. And that is where Ronald is and what he's up to. So are you saying you're gonna pull him out?
I'm going to like foot his door. Like his door is like cracked open. I'm going to like push it open with my foot. I'm not going to make eye contact. I'm going to do the boss thing where I'm like looking in my book, still writing and scribbling and stuff. But I'm going to walk in and say, "Hey, Ronald, you got a second there, champ?"
Ronald is like, huh, what? Yes, of course I do, sir, Sir Peppermint, sir.
Hey, I am in. I think I may have a mission for you if you're feeling up for the task.
I'm available. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Let's do it.
I need to make sure that you, need an honest take from you, though, on if you think you can accomplish this. I need. It appears that one of our operations is in dire need of some gemstones. Are you aware of any caches or that we could pilfer from the enemy, or like any allies that we could trade with for a copious amount of gemstones?
Gemstones. Let me see here. Let me have a look through my register, and you see he's got like
specifically we need rubies.
He's got like an old school Rolodex of like names and stuff sitting on his desk. So he's like flipping through little wooden tablets with the names etched into them. He's kind of flip. Let's see here. So it's difficult because obviously with the war effort and the refugee situation, it's difficult to get in touch with different people.
If you have the possibility.
So let me see. Well, I mean, of course there are a couple of different,
not problems, Ronald.
The bazaar in Udril, the bazaar outside of Clan Tructa's holdings had all sorts of fancy wares. So that would be a place you could go for them. But of course, naturally, that bazaar is probably closed at this stage in time since Udril is in state of occupation and warfare. Last I heard from our reports, the resistance over there was still like kind of fighting and whatever. So it's still kind of a dangerous place to be right now. Another place that you could trade for gems likely would be, are you familiar with a merchant named Duffin? He carries a lot of goods on his person.
Duffin can't get you.
That's right. There's nothing Duffin can't get you. And so I feel confident that if we could find Duffin, we would be able to see if he had such things in his inventory. He kind of travels all over the world. So depending on, if we're lucky and maybe if the dice roll in our favor, so to speak, we could come across Duffin somewhere else. So that's a possibility. Let's see here. What else could we do? So I know that there's a precious stones mine outside of Tumbleweb. Among the other things that are refined in Tumbleweb, the various precious stones find their way into Tumbleweb. You could also, you could always, go foraging on your own. There's plenty of untapped territory on the continent of Kotix. We don't really have any information about many settlements there, just the one druidic college down at the southern tip of Kotix. So you could always go to that continent and see what you could find in, your own mining expeditions, or perhaps send somebody to mine on your behalf. And those are, and he finishes flipping through the big, line of slates on his Rolodex. Those are all of the options that I seem to have available.
What about rust free?
Rust free? Interesting. Let's see. So
It would
rust
be
free,
relatively close.
rust free. Now the city is stainless. Stainless.
Yeah,
Is,
sorry about that.
Stainless
Use the
would be
old name.
would be a possibility. Stainless has been quite built up, and so I think you're not as likely to find
Oh, I wasn't
raw
thinking. No,
materials
I wasn't
there,
thinking
but it would be
stainless.
possible in their underworld to find. I'm sure there are ways in there. There's a thriving criminal underworld in Stainless, though. Of course, they're finding it a little bit difficult to grow and thrive because there's a lot of attention being placed on that underworld since our recent operations there.
Yeah.
But a lot of rhetoric about cleaning up the streets, literally, and so forth. So it would be harder, but you could maybe look into, I'm sure an organization like the Vaults would have access to all kinds of precious stones if you could.
Are you
convince them to share.
aware of any rubies being a part of the mermaid culture?
No, I believe emeralds are the preferred precious stone in the city of Notary.
Okay. Let's see. We wouldn't happen to have any contacts on like the last location of Duffin, would we?
The last time we heard about Duffin was, and he starts flipping through pages and pages of reports from the lookouts. Once these reports go through Fox and possibly a meeting with all of you, they wind up on Ronald's desk to be filed somewhere. And so he's flipping through all the reports of the lookouts. And he says the last time that we heard about them was from Owlin in his after action report on his adventure to try and recover Bumblefoot.
Right. Yeah, that was out by No Stone in the desert out there.
Yes, in the southeast.
Okay.
But
that wasn't too long ago.
Right, and Duffin at that time appeared to be traveling west, according to Alan's report.
Right, so if he kept going due west, I don't recall hearing anything about him from when we were in Geim, which means he could have continued going further west, which would have brought him settlement-wise to Stainless, or, I don't know, Athamont's a good bit further west of there. There's not that much more, except for, like, I don't know, directly underneath where we are currently right now. We're almost to the pillars.
Yes, I suppose it's possible. Would you like me to write up a report for you based on where he was seen, where he might be going?
No. What I would like you to do is I would like you to put together a team. And I would like you to see if you can find him and do one of two things. I would like you to either see if you can acquire, I don't know what the Wingle digit conversion is. I'm sure you could take care of the numbers on that. But I need about 1,500 gold worth of ruby. Doesn't matter if it's a big one or a bunch of little ones. But I need about 1,500 gold worth of ruby. So either A, if you can acquire that from him, we can either trade from, maybe some of that adamantine armor in the Horde, or if we have the Wingle digits to cover it, or if you could persuade him to join our cause so that we could gain access to those rubies that way.
How many employees am I allowed to take on this mission? He pulls a quill from behind his ear.
I would say a middle manager of your status could probably handle a team of, I would say 2 to 3. So 3 to 4 in total, including yourself.
Okay. Should I take Joffrey with me? He seems to be the strongest financial mind at the company.
No. He is currently on janitor duty for a reason.
Are you saying there's like an opening appearing in the upper levels of the company right now?
There's always upward mobility in this company, so do your best. Do your best. You probably
But right now, I'm not talking about upward mobility. I'm talking about. Are you saying he scooches his rolling chair? He's the only person on the whole tugboat with a rolling chair. He rolls it closer to you. Are you saying there's an opening at the top right now? Are you telling me that if I do this mission and I like nail it, that there's an opportunity for me in the leadership level of this company?
And I'll like get in really close and I'll say, it won't hurt your chances. There is a non-0% chance that it will increase your odds.
He looks a little confused as he tries to do the math in his head. So carry the 0. Take out the...
Yeah.
Don't carry
Keep
zeros,
doing it.
kids.
No way. Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'll take Rex and Sasha, and we'll...
That sounds great.
Okay, cool. I'll take Rex and Sasha. And do I get to like?
You know what?
Do I get to tell them they were chosen for a mission? Like, do I get to do the like?
Oh yeah, you're gonna fully debrief. You can take Rex and Sasha out. Take FP with you too.
Oh, briefs. Have you tried them too? I really like them. I think they're a really good next step as far as clothing goes. Have you?
Fur is a dry lubricant. I do not need undergarments.
Oh, but you were saying about briefing.
Now, come on, you're on a roll. Don't blow it now. You know what I'm talking about. You're going to present the mission to them.
Okay.
You're going to take this thing from A to Z, right?
Right.
So you got all the notes, right? 1,500 gold worth of rubies.
1,500
I'll
gold
let you
worth
do
of
the
rubies.
conversion in Wingle digits.
Yep.
And then mission, like priority 1 is to get Duffin to come with us so that we have access to those rubies, or, secondary. If you can't do that, then come back with the rubies.
Okay. Okay. I can do it. I can do it. I can do that. I got it. I got
remember,
it. Okay.
Remember,
Okay.
time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence. Got it. Got it. You got it. I won't even write a report before we leave. I'll just go get him and we'll go.
Work with Bruiser.
Okay.
And I want you to coordinate a rendezvous point where the Cugboat's going to pick you up. We're going to stop at the Pillars of Eternal Vigil. We're going to be going on our own away mission. Then the ship can drop you off where you need to. You can scan from there, but we need a rendezvous point to pick you up, because how else you're going to get back here unless you got like a Dragonelle or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Great. And you hear the voice of the DM in the next question. He's asking. So you're suggesting that we'll dock at the Pillars of Eternal Vigil or whatever. Like you'll get off, and then the ship will take me, Rex, and Sasha somewhere, and then the ship will probably go back to get you when your away mission is done, and then it'll come back to get me and my crew.
Yes.
All right. Which team?
However you want to configure that. We can drop you off now and pick you up later, or vice versa, whatever. But make sure there's a rendezvous point because we need to come back and pick you up.
Roger that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Good job, Ronald. Keep up the good work. Don't blow it again. This is your second chance. Remember, we believe in second chances here at Four Guys.
Ronald's like, I won't let you down. I won't let you down, Dad. I mean, Jeb, Mr. Peppermint, sir. And then he runs out through the door and rushes off towards the cockpit to talk to Bruiser.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
I like to picture that during that whole very serious conversation, Jeb is like sitting in a chair with his little feet kicking because they don't touch the ground. And then Ronald, every time the ship moves, his chair rolls a little bit like side to side.
That's what I was thinking about, having a rolling chair on like essentially an airplane.
That's hilarious. I was picturing, because Jeb is so short, Ronald is sitting in this chair and then he leans over to be conspiratorial, but he has to literally lean over. So he's like folded in half at the waist, like leaning down near, like his head's near his knees, listening to Jeb.
Nice.
Jeb is hard to look up to.
And yet so easy to look up to.
Right.
Perfect. So, Jeb, you have this conversation with Ronald as the final day of travel nears a close. As night falls over the Cugboat airship, everyone gets a full night's rest, and I roll the first tension die of the session.
No.
As your rest ends and you begin waking on the morning when you will enter the mist. It's been maybe 30 minutes. You're still probably in your bunks. Jeb, I'll put you in a bunk room here. Yeah.
Did Alan's day of calculations and attempted prediction of navigation, did that give us any bonus in finding where we need to go, or was that all flavor?
Did you roll? Did I have you roll?
No, you didn't.
Okay, roll. Roll a survival check with advantage because you're using the charts and your calculations.
Okay.
And just for clarity, Jeb has grabbed some magic items from the cache too. He has grabbed the rope, if it is still available.
Yes, I believe it is available.
The rope of climbing. He has taken the manual of clay golems, and he has donned the cloak of the manta ray, if it is still in there.
Sure. Is that over his leather duster, or is it instead of his leather duster?
It is over his leather duster.
Great. How is he stowing all the other things?
In his pack.
Okay.
He's got room for
The
it.
rope can probably swap out with the normal rope in an adventurer's pack.
Yeah,
We,
and he's got it like cinched to his side.
Did we decide that it's been a lunar cycle since?
It's been a month. Or like it was 60 days.
It was
on our
62 days
last
getting to the
long-
last boat thing, and then
Okay.
now 7 days since then. So yes, it's been a lunar cycle.
Okay. If this is a bridge too far, Josh, let me know. I also have a compromise idea if you won't let me. I totally entirely meant for and didn't just think of right now for Alan to summon counsel from the rod after his conversation with Mockery. Summon counsel with the intelligence rod to ask for guidance on what is the best strategy for getting to Kelnor's Kay's lost ship in the quickest amount of time.
Oh, so smart, Alan. So smart, so smart.
As Mockery's footsteps on the ladder climbing back up to the aft castle fade, and as the wood creaks, as she kind of gets back in her casual position of kind of seated watch, Alan, you take the rod in your hands and you do. I don't know if there's some kind of like ritual Alan goes through when he asks a question, as far as like how he channels himself into that place.
Alan takes the rod out, sets it on the navigation chart, and just like sits, puts a hand on his, rests his head on it, or rests his chin on his hand, and just like closes his eyes with his other hand on the rod, and he's just deeply concentrating on running the calculations again. But this
He's
time,
the thinker.
Yeah, exactly. But this time hoping to gain aid from the rod.
Okay. Alan, the room around you remains the same but fades from your perception. The sound of the wind rushing by the windows of the old spa begins to fade to a dull roar and then eventually to nothing. The glow of the torchlight that has been dimly flickering slowly stabilizes and goes from that warm orange to the cool bluish white of the hall that always seems to appear whenever you summon counsel from the Rod of Intelligence. A great sprawling atrium of some kind. Perhaps it's round, perhaps it's square. It's hard to tell. You can't quite see to the walls. A kind of generic rolling mist sort of swirls around this gathering place. And before you, seated on the ground on a little square of rug, is a young child, a monk with a shaved head and a robe that they wear. The child looks up at you and says, "Hello again. Is there a question you wish to ask?"
Hello. Yes, I do wish to ask this question. What is the most efficient route or method to find Kay's adrift ship in the Pillars of Eternal Vigil?
You know the rules. As the image flickers between different constructs and humans and elves and different creatures of history, we cannot give you information about something from an era that we were not part of. However, there are facets of your question that I believe are more generally applicable. As an orc kind of commander steps forward, He's now standing and the rug is gone. There's a table between you, and the charts that you were looking at are sitting on the table. Now, I don't know anything about this land, this territory, these weather patterns, but when I'm conducting a search for somebody, I always try and be methodical about it. And then he kind of flickers out of his position, and a dwarf woman steps into the place where he was. And when I'm trying to do more methodical searches for things, I always find that it's best to eliminate more options than it is to try and add options to my list of what to consider. So when I'm looking at it, I think, where could they not be? You know what I'm saying? Are there things that could rule out some of your options here? Because it looks to me like you've got three big choices before you. Looking at you've got these three big marks, whatever they are, on your map, and then everything kind of swirls around that. And so it seems like you need to figure out which of those you're going to before you figure out how to get there. And all of a sudden, standing in front of you, hands on hips, is an elderly ranger who, bow slung across his back, quiver full of arrows. He's got his well-worn hunting moccasins on, and he's just kind of standing there looking at it. He goes, you can't figure out how to navigate the woods until you know where the summit is, right? So what you really need to do is rule out some of these other structures until you figure out the one you're trying to get to. And then I'm assuming this misty stuff, this is the stuff you were having trouble navigating, right? So like your question also is kind of like, how do I get through the mist? Now, I don't know what the mist is going to do to you when you try and navigate, but I know that there are some things that are typically constants, like a compass, where, compass always points north. And so you could always use that. If you've got a view of the stars, you could navigate by the stars. Kind of flickers out of position, and in front of you, seated on the rug like before, is a merchant who has a big map of trade routes in front of him. He says, but honestly, the easiest way to find anything is to just figure out how someone else got there and follow in their footsteps. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be the first person who's ever wanted to go to wherever it is you're trying to go to, can you? And as the question kind of rings out over you, everything kind of begins to fade, and you find yourself seated back with the orange flickering light, the sound of the wind returning to your ears, Mockery's footsteps as she kind of paces absently on the ceiling of the aft castle, kind of echoing back down to you.
Alan has had an idea sparked from that, and he would like to go ask Bruiser whether it's feasible. So he's going to go to the cockpit, assuming Bruiser is there.
Sure. Alan crosses over here towards the cockpit, and he does find Bruiser just chilling in the cockpit. Bruiser navigating. He's as you're approaching what's probably a difficult to navigate area, he's determined that he's going to be the one who's flying for this next set. Doesn't want any scratches or weirdness kind of messing him up. So far, the instruments on his, for lack of a better word, dashboard, right? It's just kind of a podium with dials and things on it. But all the instruments or the measurements on there seem pretty normal, and he seems to be flying successfully. You come in and he goes, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?"
Hey, it's going well. I was considering our upcoming navigational potential troubles, and I summoned counsel from the intelligence rod, and it wasn't quite as clear as it has been in the past, but it gave me an idea, and I like to run it by you, and you can tell me if it's kind of a crazy idea that we should not do, or whether it's something that's worth trying.
Okay.
So when Kay's airship got here, I would have assumed that Kay or Kay's crew would have tried to essentially dock themselves to the first pillar that they got close enough to dock to. That would be what I would do in that case to keep from continuing to drift.
Sure thing, man. That makes sense.
So, as I said, tell me if this is unreasonable. What if, as soon as we entered the wind stream of this weather pattern around the pillars, we cut the engines and let the momentum carry us to whichever pillar it carries us to, and then dock there. And potentially, if the weather pattern has stayed consistent throughout time, we've then encountered whichever pillar K is docked to as well.
It makes sense to me, man. Just trying to ride the same waves that he did, because he was so... Actually, you know what? I'm not even the right person to get in his head. Hang on. And Bruiser leans over to the little intercom unit on the ship, and he says, "Hey, Radford, are you around? Can you come up to the cockpit for a second?"
Sure thing. Be there.
Thanks.
Second.
And sure enough, it doesn't take long for Radford the White, Dragonborn monk, to fully create a crowded circumstance here in the cockpit as the three of you fill all the unoccupied space. And Bruiser kind of relays the question to Radford and says, "Is that what you think Kay would have done? Like, is that how it probably would have gone?" And then Bruiser goes back to flying, and you two can continue the conversation.
This is an interesting concept. I mean, it stands to reason that you'd be kind of emulating what Kay would have done. That's really smart, Alan. I think it's a really smart idea.
Thank you. It wasn't entirely mine. It was inspired by, and then Alan like taps the rod on the slot on his, the rod has like a pocket on his suspenders that hold up his tool belt. And he kind of taps that.
Yeah.
So the rod is a foot long. Are you sure that's going to fit in a pocket?
It's a foot long?
Yeah.
It's a long pocket.
the full length of the suspender.
It's almost like
one
it
of
holds
those
a mag light flashlight.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
slots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like an umbrella, like a little umbrella holder.
Yeah, it has
Everyone
like a button
rushed to Alan's defense.
thing
Okay,
over it.
I'm
Yeah.
convinced.
Has Alan made like a little clip on, like almost like a pen clip, just like clip to the top of it, so that when he sticks the rod in, it's got like the little clip that pokes out.
Yeah,
It's
totally,
like a giant pocket protector for a guy who doesn't wear a shirt.
Yep.
I'm on
Exactly.
board.
It's so the rod doesn't go down into the pocket, and then he has to like fish it out with his fingers.
Yeah,
It just,
because you
like,
hate having to do that. You hate
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
like you got to push up on the bottom. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then if you like, because they're suspenders, like if he does it too weird, like his briefs kind of ride up, and that's a
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to mess with that.
You don't want upward motion.
Yeah.
No.
And Bruiser says, "Well, definitely, man. We can do that. We can do that. And I'll still have some we'll shut the thrusters off, or basically kind of put them just vertical so that we stay as high as we are, because we want to try not to lose any altitude if we can.
Yes.
And there's still a chance that we're going to hit that mist, but it's going to be tough. If we fall into that mist, then we're going to be really in tough situation, but it might still climb up to us."
Even if we fall into the mist, do you feel as though with the navigational instruments we have on board that if we needed to, we could try to make a rapid escape?
I'm rolling on Bruiser's behalf to see how he feels. Oh, dude, I can fly anything.
Perfect. In that case,
I mean, it'd just be a matter of going up, right?
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, sure.
So in that case, I say let's go with that, and I'm gonna get some rest and try to attune to these, and Alan will tap his new gauntlets of ogre strength, and I'll
Ooh,
get some
that
rest.
looks fancy.
The first
Nice.
flurries of snow begin to swirl and hit the sort of bubble windshield thing that sticks at the front of the tugboat. And Bruiser says, "Good timing, because we're about to head into the mists." And Alan, you head off to do your attunement, and the tugboat enters the mists surrounding the pillars of Eternal Vigil.
The mists, TM.
These massive 3 pillars at 30 miles wide at this stage, when you see them through the snow, they're all you see. It's just a huge, like, as far as the eye can see sideways, as far as the eye can see vertically. And as Bruiser lets the ship become adrift in the currents that swirl around them, you don't even know which one you're looking at necessarily at any given time. I'm going to roll a tension die here as the tugboat begins just swirling at random.
Well,
Go ahead.
wouldn't Bruiser be paying attention to the instrumentation?
He's watching the instrumentation, and it says you're going in a straight line.
Gotcha.
And so as far as Bruiser knows from the instruments, that's what you're doing. And yet
That's fair.
you don't really have the visibility outside to know.
To confirm. Yeah.
The first 2 hours go by, which is enough time for Alan to try attuning to 2 things, I believe, or just 2 attune to them. So, Alan, you've attuned to both. Are you doing 2 magical items or just 1?
Just 1. I'm swapping out my old bracers of defense for my new gauntlets of overstrength. Otherwise, he's keeping the scimitar of speed and not switching to the glaive.
Got it. Fox also attunes to the saxophone in somewhere in the time between your last conversation. But as he's not feeling any better, he's still not playing any music on it yet. He hasn't given it a shot. I'll
be attuning to the Pearl of Power.
Great. As the hours pass, 3, then 4, then 5, in the swirling, snowy clouds, you begin to feel a sense of disorientation even within the Cugboat. You feel like even when you're trying to figure out how to get from one room to the next, you feel like you're always kind of thinking through your mental map at a disadvantage. And it becomes very difficult to orient yourself. You get brief flashes of vertigo followed by flashes of like feeling like you're falling. And it's just this weird kind of mesh of mental disorientation or discombobulation. Where would you go during those kinds of feelings? Like, would you want to be on the open deck? Would you want to be in a certain room in the Cugboat? Where would you be as Bruiser is trying to let the ship follow the currents?
Alan would probably go to the open deck.
Okay.
Just because Alan, once he's attuned, he's just like, I'm the one who kind of put us in this risky position of like letting us just drift in the mists. So I want to be I don't want to be like cowering in my room. I want to be like there.
Sure.
Like there, I want to be one of the first people to see if anything goes wrong.
Got
or
it.
if we, see what we need to see and find what we need to find.
With a Bruiser in the cockpit, Mockery is going to station herself in the nest on top of the old spa and send Zopf to the rear balcony, which juts out at a lower point of the ship, so that if something were to come up from beneath or above you, they should both have a chance of spotting it, even if it's just at the last minute, and giving you warning. Alan, you're standing on the deck. What's Jeb up to at this stage?
Jeb, after hearing this whole plan and everything, is going to stick by Alan's side.
Okay.
I think that was really smart. Consulting the rod. I'm going to do the same. Mine is a little bit more immediate in its revelations. And so I think it's like with the paramount of how important this is, I think it's probably important that we see if this will actually find Kay.
Yes,
I'm going to
important.
invoke the luck of the ancients.
Sure.
So they are going to hopefully tell me how the immediate results of this course of action are most likely to be.
Yeah. What is there any kind of ritual that Jeb likes to go through or would want to go through in the future as he activates this ability? All that's necessary is that you're holding the rod and concentrating on it. So it's just, is there a process Jeb goes through?
I think he, like the rod of luck is the spear point, correct?
Yes.
If I'm remembering correctly.
It is.
I think he's going to like bend over and scratch a little circle in the deck. Not like too deep, but just like, scrape a little circle and then toss his dice into it.
Cool.
And see how they fall.
Jeb draws a little circle, which, because of the nature of the current situation, is not just in the deck of the ship. It also appears very it's very contrasty dark wood beneath white snow as you brush flurries away. And so it's a really clearly defined circle with just a little bit of that white kind of powdery snow or flurries kind of settled inside it, just enough to coat the wooden deck. But you can still kind of get a sense that it's melting quickly at this stage. And Jeb, takes his dice, shakes them up, rolls them, and
says diamond eyes and snaps his fingers.
As you snap your fingers, you feel your consciousness being drawn out of your body and into the dice. And so as the dice land with what to you is this big reverberating wooden, like on the deck of the ship, you are sucked into that moment and find yourself now seated on one of those dice. And sitting opposite you, seated on the other dice, is no one, a sort of blurry figure with possibilities shearing off of them in every direction. And so as they sit there, you see all the different ways they could stand up and leave, all the different things they could do. And yet, whoever this kind of generic small humanoid figure is, you're able to make eye contact with them. And so they're looking at you and they seem to be expectant. They seem to be waiting to be presented with something.
Our goal is to find Kay, and our current path is to follow the winds and hopefully walk in his steps, and follow the steps of the path that his ship took previously. If we do this, is it likely that we find him?
The creature tips its head to think, and you watch as the possibilities shearing off of it become less and less until there's only one, and the creature stands up, still sitting in front of you, but this possibility that becomes the only remaining possibility as the creature stands and begins walking away from you through the snow, which from this scale, this size, is gigantic. And the footprints appearing in the snow as it walks away begin to widen until again your consciousness is brought from this area into a new one, and now you are isolated, floating in a swirling mist of snow, and in front of you you see the Cugboat as it continues on its trail, completely silent, thrusters shut off, steering just by the giant wind rudder that sticks out from beneath the rear balcony as it kind of lists to one side and makes a turn. Flurries kind of knocked out of the way as it goes by. You see mist swirling up from beneath. The mist comes up and envelops the Cugboat. And from your perspective, all movement stops. The Cugboat sits still. Still snow is flying across all of it. And then you see another ship pass it with a string of lights kind of anchored to the mast of this ship. Its big wind sails catching the breeze, and it goes into the same place where the Cugboat is, and the two of them merge, and then time opens up again and they both begin sailing forwards, overlaid on top of each other, almost like if you were able to see into the ethereal and the material plane at the same time. You're watching these two ships that kind of phase through one another as they begin following the wind currents, and eventually the first ship pulls ahead just a little bit, and kind of with a soft thud kind of impacts into one of the pillars, which just materializes out of the low visibility. It just kind of hits into it and comes to a stop, and you see, moving a little bit more slowly now, the Cugboat following in the same sort of path, but as it does, something wispy kind of reaches up from beneath and starts to swirl over the deck of the ship, and you see little flashes of magic and lightning and little fire and little poofs of smoke, and you start to hear the of swords being drawn. And then on the other side, as it passes through this sort of tiny maelstrom, the ship again impacts where this ethereal version of Kay's ship has impacted. And as you come back to yourself from this arcane circle, you hear a whistle blowing from the lower deck, the rear balcony of the Cugboat, and you hear Zop's voice kind of echoing up very faintly with the wind trying to pull it away.
Okay, we need, I see something, I think, and it doesn't look, I'm not sure what.
And then you hear Mockery.
What is that? Are those?
I grab Alwyn.
Are those?
Get your weapons! Get your weapons! And you see, just off in the distance at the top of it, you see Mockery light a cigar, use it to light a slow match, and then hold it up to a musket, and it kind of shoots downwards into the distance. Please roll initiative.
That's not good.
Alan had a 16 on initiative.
Okay.
I have a 15
15.
on initiative.
We're also going to bring Gunnar and Radford into this because you are down 2 party members. Gunnar comes running up to the deck. Jake, you're back in control of Gunnar.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and roll initiative for him. And actually, Jeb, you can choose if you want Radford or FP to back you up.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
FP has not been dropped off yet.
Not yet, no. Well, actually, DM, did Ronald drop off first?
No, I think you said you wanted the ship to drop you off and then drop Ronald off, right?
Either way. Yeah,
Okay.
I said I'll leave it up to you, Ronald, and I wasn't sure which way, but
okay.
that's like either way is fine. So yeah, that doesn't matter.
We'll do that.
I think. Oh dang! I saw little like fire puffs and sword sounds, right?
And lightning. It was just kind of a general combat. It wasn't necessarily something specific.
It wasn't indicative, particularly indicative. Okay.
Going once.
FP.
Okay. FP comes rushing up to the deck. Did somebody call for me? And Wash, you're back in charge of FP as well.
Yep.
Jake, what was Gunnar's initiative roll?
Oh, sorry. I pulled up his character sheet and forgot to actually roll it.
No worries. I've got a lot of things to roll initiative for here, so you take your time.
Gunner's got 19.
Great.
FP got a 6.
FP got a 6.
Laura got a 9.
Perfect. So Clara's not actually going to enter combat. Instead, I'm going to give you, Willa, the chance to operate as the Cugboat. There are a number
Which
of
is
actions.
initiative 20.
Initiative
Correct.
order 20.
Got it.
So the Cugboat will, and you can still communicate on behalf of the boat, maybe as Clara. Maybe Clara is relaying these instructions to Bruiser in the cockpit. But you can just choose based on what those are, what the Cugboat's going to do each turn. So I have this initiative order of the players, and then I just need to work in here some of our other friends, new friends. Everybody loves new friends.
Friends.
Yeah, new friends.
Whatever is about to happen seems like it's going to be really friendly.
Yeah, definitely friendly. You can tell because Mockery shot at it before talking to it. That's how you know it's going to be friendly.
Owlin.
Yes.
You see Jeb, he's just got a big smile on his face. He's like, whatever is dangerous is coming directly up below us, and it's going to try and stop us.
Okay.
But if we get through it, we're going to find him.
All right. And Alan smiles as well. We can do this.
This is it.
And Alan's going to peer over the side well, it's not his turn. Never mind.
Yep.
I forget we're in initiative.
Yep. Alan is not first, nor is the Cugboat, actually. There are 2 baddies who need to go before that. Let's see here.
You're a baddie.
Flying, and there are multiples of these, so I've given them kind of sillyish names that help us differentiate between them. But
Nice.
they're not silly creatures. A creature that looks like a giant eye with teeth underneath of it and a bunch of flailing eye stalks coming off of it.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's about 5 feet wide. It's this gross, kind of livid skin color, comes rushing out of the mist towards Zopf. Zopf, luckily, because Zopf was on lookout duty, just dives backwards and inside the rear balcony for a second to kind of take cover and relays to you what was seen. So that's what Zopf saw. And then that's actually the only creature that's visible at the moment. However, I do need Owlin to... What's your AC, Owlin?
It is now 15.
15. Okay, Owlin, as you see a really small little kind of stalked eyeball looking creature come out of the mist towards you, and it's going to make an attack. Its little eyes on the different tentacles, one of them just looks towards you and then kind of shoots off a little ray at you, and that ray is
Sunshine.
You need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Fun.
And then it's going to fire one more. after that.
Okay. 17 on the wisdom saving throw.
17.
Ooh, nice.
You are successful on your wisdom saving throw. You also need to make a strength saving throw.
Oh, guess who's got good strength?
Fuck.
Guess who's got troll strength?
Oh, let's go. Ogre strength.
Yeah, ogre strength, whatever. Troll, ogre. Ogres have layers. Guess who just rolled a natural 1?
No way.
Chronal
Yes
shift.
way. Oh, let's go.
All right, you re-roll that natural 1.
Okay, 14.
14. Owlin, for just a second there, you feel like you're about to be launched telekinetically off the deck of the Cugboat, but then something happens
Alan's
and it's
no
like the
stranger to
grip.
that.
It's like the grip of the telekinesis slips off of you. Like the force is there, and you see a little poof of snow get flung away from you off the Cugboat to below you on this battle map. It would go downwards. And then the little gazer is going to take 1, 2, 3 more squares of movement. As it kind of flies back out into the mist. You can still see it, but it's a little bit obscured by like little flurries kind of passing by. That's going to do its turn. And then here comes another one. This one's going to fly up from below on the other side of the Cugboat and appear in your line of sight. FP62, what's your AC?
My AC is.
I'm sorry, it doesn't even
14.
matter what your AC is. These are saves for these little eye rays. It's going to do the same
that
thing
was
where
rude.
it's going to attack FP. 2 of its little eye stalks kind of swoop in and kind of launch off these little rays. I need 2
Rude.
wisdom saving throws.
That is not my specialty, but I rolled well. 21 for the
21
first.
passes.
16 for the second.
They both pass. And FP's kind of synthoid flesh, you feel these little rays. They're almost like little tiny concentrations of light that kind of and they hit you, but nothing seems to happen from them. That's going to conclude its turn and bring us to initiative order 20. This is where the boat goes. Clara, what's the boat going to do? Feel free to yell to the players if you want.
All right. It seems like maybe we should be looking out for these guys. We got a good visual. I'm not seeing much, so I'm thinking we should deploy some of these lookouts, send some of these critters running around to see what we can see.
That sounds perfect.
All right, you're not doing anything useful. You look like you've got eyes. Can you go over to the fore, aft, port, starboard side and look out for things that could kill us? Bruiser, do you know which direction they should actually go? And can you draw me a small map of what these words mean?
You hear Bruiser go, yeah, so like port is on the left and starboard is on the right.
We're going to call them the left and the right. This is innovation on as we go here, all right? We're making new languages.
And as posts
Left,
for the lookout,
right.
You could put them on the main deck. You could put them in the nest. You could put them on the fins, the stabilizing fins at the bottom of the Cugboat. And you
Whoa,
could put
that's
them
a
on the
lot
rear
of
balcony.
words.
Yeah.
You said nest. One of you goes to the nest and one of you goes to there was one that was a deck. You go to those places.
All right. You hear Mockery go, I've got the nest. And then Zopf yells back, I'll take care of the deck.
All right, and you
Zopf
draw
kinda
me that
posts up on the main
diagram.
deck. I have to fly the ship, Clara. And that is...
So what that's going to do for those watching, this is going to give us another 30-foot radius around each of those people's sight lines.
Yeah. That is what that will do. And it will also give advantage on perception checks to spot things that are like the ship basically is going to roll its own perception checks to warn you about things that might be stealthing.
Nice.
That brings us to...
I think Gunner.
Actually, no, it doesn't. It brings us to a couple more villainous creatures here. old Gazer and Ebenezer Scrooge, both Gazers, come flying up towards the right, I think, as Clara would say, or maybe the left, whatever, port side.
That is the left side.
I need Gunner to make a wisdom save and a strength save. And I need Owlin to make a wisdom save and a dexterity save.
Okay. 19 on wisdom and 11 on strength for Gunner.
Okay. Gunner passes wisdom but fails strength. Luckily for him, based on the direction of the Gazer that's attacking him, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. He is flung by the telekinesis of the old Gazer as it attacks him. The other one, Ebenezer Scrooge, is attacking Owlin.
And what are the saves for Owlin again?
Owlin needs to roll a wisdom save and a dexterity save.
12 on wisdom. Let me look at my abilities here. I can see the thing that's making me roll a dex
you
save,
can.
right? Okay, so I get advantage. 16 on the dex save.
16 on the dex save. Okay, you successfully pass both saves, and Owlin and really everyone on deck is now like literally kind of weaving and ducking and like trying to get around all of these different rays that are attacking you. When it comes to Gunner's turn.
Okay. This could sound like a silly question, but I ask it in earnest. Does Gunner potentially have access to an ocean?
I'll give him one ocean. You want to use it now?
I would like to use an ocean.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is a few days back on the Cugboat. Gunner approaches Randy McHale, the
Hey, what
head
can
of
I
the
do
Department
for
of
you?
Cool stuff. All right. Well, as you know, and you probably know well, I like to keep a lot of these on me. And he pulls out explosives, various explosives.
Yeah. I like those.
Yeah.
They're cool.
All right. So something I've been thinking about.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's easy for me to place one, detonate it, put it on a timer, or even just toss one, etc. What about situations where I need to get one a bit further? You know, like farther than I could throw it? What if I had something that could launch these? What do you think?
Like, how big are you talking? How far do you need them to go?
Well, I mean, as far as they can get them.
Well, so
or
here's
I can
the
still
thing.
hold the thing that's launching them.
I can make you something that goes really far away, but then it's not going to be very useful nearby, right? Or I can
Sure.
make you something that's medium far. Or I can make you, like how far are you anticipating attacking something with one of these explosives? You know?
Well, I'd say probably medium far, because really far away, and I got eyes, but can I see really far away? I don't know.
So you're saying like
but-
60 feet, 60 shins, Moltric system, 60 shins.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
I think we could make something like that. Okay. So here's the real question, and he continues to explore the situation with you as Gunner rolls a survival check to see if he can basically help uncover the needs or the requirements of this machine, and he can roll it with advantage because he's got Randy helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
as you can see, I think a 27's worth of survival is what might be needed
Dang.
to make this work.
Oh yeah, we can knock that out in a day, I think. Yeah, easy peasy. No
Perfect,
problem.
perfect.
All right, I'll take care of it for you. And
Great,
sure enough,
thank you.
now in this moment, Owlin, as we return to the present, and you stand aboard the Cugboat with these weird creatures attacking you. Gunner's just been flung back, his feet probably skidding in the snow as he kind of regains his balance. The small wooden railing, kind of like the last thing to catch him before he flips over the side of the Cugboat and falls. You have the comforting grenade launcher that you've just asked him to craft for you at your side. It can launch a projectile of yours 30 to 60 feet normally, and at other ranges at disadvantage. So you could shoot further or something closer
Sure.
at disadvantage with it. But otherwise, it is a normal ranged attack from 30 to 60 feet.
Great.
And we are
I gotta-
assuming that you are setting the fuses to explode on like upon reaching the target destination, right? You don't want them to be on a timer.
I think timer might be best in this case because I think timer. I think it's like almost like pin gets pulled upon trigger pull. What's simpler?
It's a lot easier if they just blow up when they hit something.
All right, blow up when they hit something.
Great.
I gotta see what's the 20 feet is the okay radius. I gotta see what bad guy is gonna
30 to 60
5.
feet is the range of your. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Gunner hits Gazer 2, he can still hit Gazer Scrooge.
Okay.
As well.
So he'll attack like somewhere in the middle of them, basically.
Well, yeah, but then what's it gonna hit? What's the grenade gonna hit? So he has to
I see.
essentially attack
Perfect.
Gazer 2, and then it'll also hit Gazer Scrooge.
Go for
so,
it.
Gunner gets pushed back. He has this shoulder strap that no one has noticed that he has, but now as he takes this thing off his shoulder, and it looks like just this kind of unwieldy, maybe not super well designed visually yet, but very practical thing that he just grabs one of his explosives from his belt, stuffs it in the front, and then cocks it into place.
Okay.
And will fire at Gazer 2.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll to hit. That's a ranged attack.
Yep. Oh, and all that for an 8.
With an 8, so you fire at it, but the creature is so small. These weird eye stalk gazers, it kind of squirts out of the way, and the grenade whistles off into the distance. You don't see it or hear it impact or explode. That's good. Oh, well, you have a move action, I guess, as well, and a bonus action if you want it.
All village nearby has a bad day.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, in that case, I think still, let's see. If the Gunner wants to maintain this range, he kind of wants to stay where he's at. Yeah. I think that's it for Gunner's turn. He's going to reload, get ready for his second and only other time he's going to get to fire this thing.
Great. As Gunner reloads, another one of the Goths, these bigger creatures, comes soaring across. It basically passes the main deck, or passes by the aft castle and the crow's nest. Mockery is heads up, something's coming, and it kind of soars over here and gets into position behind one of the gazers, and it is going to identify. It's going to make a check here to try and identify something. Okay. It's going to 3 of its little eye stalks kind of swirl around and they're all kind of just writhing and doing the weird spaghetti monster dance. But 3 of them kind of lock into place, and they're all staring at FP62 as it fires. Roll 3D or out FP. Roll 3d6, and tell me what each d6 is. This is to determine what the rays are.
Did you ask me to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you say please?
Sorry, I've been fighting a coughing fit over here.
That's okay.
First one is a 2. Second
Okay.
one is a 3. Third one is a 6.
Perfect. 2, 3, and a 6. So in that order, Jeb needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Jeb or FP? I thought you said it was FP.
Sorry, FP. This is tough. I wasn't anticipating needing you to play
Nope.
alt characters tonight, but here we are.
That's okay.
All right, Constitution saving throw. Here we come.
Con saves.
That's a 14 plus 1, 15 on the con save.
Great. You pass. You take 9 points of necrotic damage as you kind of feel it's like a ray that luckily FP is so fast that he can just dodge out of the way. But even like as a little bit of it glances across your arm, it's almost like when you get like a dead bicep or whatever, like you kind of bump something and your arm goes numb. You get this like feeling of numbness, like your arm's being enervated.
Ooh. That is a unnerving FP with his new synthetic body.
That's probably the first time he's ever felt that.
Yeah. Do not like.
Okay, and then the 3 is a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, he's good at that. That is a 21.
A 21. He is successful and avoids any damage as a ray of fire just kind of rushes past where he was standing, a second before. And then finally, he needs to succeed on a wisdom saving throw.
That is moderate.
This is a serious
one, natural 20, baby.
Natural 20. As this ray kind of swoops nearby, FP ducks out of the way, but he dodges in such a way where just a little tiny bit of it kind of like glances over maybe his ear or his temple or something like that. And so he gets the sense that if this thing had hit him, it would have put him to sleep. Sleep being something he's not very familiar with needing. It's like a weird sensation to be like, oh, this might have made me really drowsy.
This is my mind. You will not mess with it.
This creature is then going to use its remaining 10 feet of movement to kind of pull back out here to the side of the Cugboat, just like that. That's Goth Brooks that just finished that turn. And then there's one more Gazer who's going to make an attack here. And this one is going to fly in and make a melee attack on FP62.
I knew there had to be a Gazer beam Gazer.
There's a Gazer
nice.
beam. And this one rolled a 7 to hit. So as FP is doing the dance, this Gazer comes up, and I think this thing probably tries to like latch on with its teeny little teeth, and it doesn't break the skin, and so it kind of slides back off of FP's synthoid skin, and it's like right up in his business now. So FP has been like directly engaged in combat by one of them. That's going to bring us to Owlin's turn, and Jeb is on deck.
Okay.
All right. So Alan is going to move up to here.
Okay.
He's going to do a little Storm Herald Barbarian Raging bonus action.
Sure.
So he, draws his Scimitar of Speed, puts out his arms and just, roars. His lightning ethereal wings sprout out of his back, and a lightning bolt comes down on one of the gazers there at random. I can just like roll a d6 odds and evens.
Yeah, sure.
Even
odds above, evens below.
We'll do. It's on Gazer Beam.
Okay.
And so Gazer Beam needs to make a Dex save DC 14.
Gazer Beam rolled a 14 on the die, and the Dex is a positive number, so that's a pass.
Okay. So it takes. I rolled max damage at least, so it takes 3 lightning damage.
Okay.
From a lightning bolt coming down when Alan rages.
Sure.
And then Alan will multi-attack. He'll do 1 scimitar attack on Gazer Beam and 1 on Old Gazer.
Great. Which one do you want to do first?
We'll do Gazer Beam first.
Standing on the deck with 1 Gazer to each side of him, Alan whirls in this sort of dance-looking attack, narrowly avoiding FP62, who was also kind of right nearby here in the center of the main deck of the Cugboat. What was your roll to hit?
Roll to hit was 14.
All right, that's a hit on the first one.
Okay, and the damage is 10. 10 slashing damage.
That was to Gazer Beam? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Gazer Beam, you slice straight through it, and in a little spurt of acrid green blood, Gazer Beam falls lifeless to the deck and begins to dissolve.
And then in like essentially the same motion, Alan's going to continue that slice towards Old Gazer.
Great. Attacks Old Gazer.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits.
And 11 damage.
11 damage. You hit this thing and you slice it pretty good. Your sword doesn't cut the whole way through this one, but it gives a little shriek as you hit it with your scimitar of speed. And it is like bleeding. That same acrid green blood is kind of hanging off of it as it floats out here over the empty space just beyond the railing of the Cugboat.
Nice. And that is Alan's turn.
That is Alan's turn, which brings us to Jebediah's turn. I'm zooming out here for our viewers at home to see the field of battle. A quick word picture for you listeners. Owlin, Jeb, and FP62 stand at the center of the main deck of the Cugboat, 100-foot expanse of wood, though they can only see about 30 feet down the length of it because of the swirling snow and mist. Around them are a number of floating eyeballs, basically, with these weird stalks with smaller eyeballs on them and shrieking, fanged, sharp teeth kind of snatching and chattering as they swirl around the Cugboat. Into that, we join Jebediah Peppermint for his turn of combat.
And whenever Jeb starts a turn, you know what that means. It means we need to start with asking the DM a question.
Of course it does.
The time, like how much time passed between our last game and now? Was it like you just said we got a long rest? Was it only one day or was it longer than that?
Since the last game session.
Correct.
Yeah, it's been like 7 days, but I also realized
Okay.
I needed to ask you a question before your turn, because when you start your turn in a certain place with some certain things around you, you have to make a DC 14 wisdom save.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how this DC 14 wisdom save goes.
Yeah.
That's not super. Ooh, that's a 9.
Oh, no.
But I think I'm gonna chronal shift that
Okay.
because that could be bad.
It is bad.
That's not much better. That is an 11.
An 11. Jeb, just as you're thinking about what to do next, you sort of lock eyes or lock eye with Goth Brooks, the larger eyeball creature with that red livid skin, and something in its gaze leaves you stunned. And you are stunned until the start of your next turn. The condition stunned, which I believe means you can't do very much.
Well, let me ask you this, because my question was, this is something that you and I had already talked about. Would Jeb have had time to formulate a contingency plan?
I think probably. He said like 7 days. If
Okay.
he did nothing else. Sure.
Okay. Then something's going to happen after he regains use
Sure.
of his faculties.
Yep. For those of you at home, a stunned creature is incapacitated, can't move, and can speak only falteringly. The creature automatically fails strength and dex saves, and attack rolls against it have advantage. So Jeb is stunned until the start of Jeb's next turn.
Oh, actually. Yeah, no worries. We'll figure it out. I thought a thing might happen now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to move into the next turn, which is another one of the Gazers. This is Gazer, I hardly know her, soaring across the deck of the Cugboat here. This one swirls up to the other side of kind of the cloud of creatures here, and it's kind of split in its attention between Gunnar and Jeb, but seeing Jeb lock up, it's going to kind of lock in on that, and it's going to attack Jeb. So it's going to fly up towards Jeb here, and from next to him, it's going to use one eye ray, and then it's going to do a melee attack. So Jeb, I would like you to roll a d4. This is going to determine what the eye ray does. And I will roll its melee attack
1.
with advantage. A 1. And
A 1.
the attack with advantage is a 19 on the die plus 5
Yep,
to
that
hit.
hits.
So that's going to hit. So the 1 is a wisdom saving throw of 12.
All right. Oh, we rolled a 15 plus stuff.
Okay, no worries. And then it also is going to hit with its bite attack, which is going to deal 1 point of piercing damage as it kind of latches on and bites into Jeb where he stands. That was Gazer, I Hardly Know Her with that turn. That sounds like the end of a band. That was Gazer, I Hardly Know Her with its first single.
Gazer Beam is dead, right?
Yes. I will delete
Is there a
Gazer
way to
Beam off the
signify
map.
that?
Yep,
Okay,
sorry.
cool.
That was
Very
a
good.
good call. I should have done that.
His first hit single.
Yeah, Gazer Beam is dead. And then that's going to bring us to Death Kiss. A Death Kiss is a large creature. It is a massive it's almost like the color of a Mew, like that kind of light pink faded fleshy thing. It's an eyeball in the middle of a bunch of spiky tentacles, almost like a weird jellyfish kind of creature, this big red eye. And it comes kind of, compared to the others, sort of lumbering into position. Again, Mockery and Zopf give up a little warning cry as this thing floats into the air around you. It's going to...
Oh, yes. Please just nestle right there. We love it.
It's
Death
going
Kiss.
to... Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
perfect.
It's going to use its movement to try and position itself. Sorry, I keep snapping to intersections instead of onto squares.
Gunner's just muttering on his voice. Oh yeah. Right there. That's perfect. All right. Yep. Stay there.
And then as
Snap to that intersection.
Yeah, really. Let me see what it's... Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20. So it does have the reach here. It's going to attack... Jeb, I'm going to put it here. It's going to attack Jeb and FP and Owlin. Each of you is... I need your AC as it attacks you. So the attack against Owlin is a 23.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. The attack against FP62 is a 18. And the attack
that
against
hits.
Jeb with advantage for the stunned is a 17.
Yep, that hits.
Okay. So each of you, as you get hit, take some piercing damage from the tentacle, which I'm about to roll. You take 10 points of piercing damage each, and you are all grappled, which means that you
Lovely.
are condition restrained. We got Belly Savalas in the chat using some channel points to change the weather. So this thing kind of lashes out through the snowstorm here, and it gets these three tentacles kind of wrap around, and they kind of grapple you around like maybe your arm, so they kind of lash into your shoulder and kind of hold you in place. And as you are restrained and it hits Owlin, there is this crackle of thunder from his storm herald kind of rage that he's entered, and this massive lightning bolt off in the distance, but it is so significant that it fries away the mist and the clouds that are surrounding the Cugboat. And I'm going to turn off Fog of War on our map as your visibility is restored to each of you, to like the far distance, basically. So there's still the navigational mist somewhere, but it's not here right now, as it got fried away by this massive lightning bolt. And the storm itself is not over you. So it's not raining or hailing or anything like that, but there are dark clouds kind of swirling in the distance. And it was one of those like almost like chain lightning or sheet lightning that kind of fried through everything. Can you just confirm, because it's updating weird on my screen, you can see everything now, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. You can see everything, which means that you can also see as the last Goth Cug comes flying up across the deck of the ship here. This is another one of those livid red tentacled creatures, and it is going to attack with some eye rays against Owlin now that he's restrained. Owlin, roll 3d6 for me. And while he's doing that, for those of you at home, the condition restrained is speed becomes 0 and a creature can't use its move speed. Attack rolls against that creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage, and the creature has disadvantage on dexterity saves. So those are the conditions.
5-5-4 on the d6.
5-5-4. Okay. So you can re-roll one of those 5s. While he's re-rolling that, the first attack will be a strength saving throw as a sort of purplish beam launches out of the Goth's one of its eye stalks.
Okay. 19 on that strength saving throw, and then
go ahead.
the replacement d6 is a 1.
Great. The replacement d6 is a 1. So the 19 is a success. which means that you can feel the telekinetic force trying to push you, but it's actually getting mixed up by the fact that you're restrained. Like the death kiss is just too strong in the grip that it has on you for you to be pushed anywhere from right now. And then the one that you rolled is a DC 14 dexterity saving throw, which you are rolling at disadvantage.
Okay. No matter what, I did not get it.
Okay. You see it's almost like a strange greenish tinge in the air that it kind of like shimmers and wavers like a like heat would rising off of a desert or something like that. And you feel more than see as the weave in your rod of intelligence is suppressed. It disappears. Now, luckily, you are in range of Jeb, and so your magic will still work, but you feel that your rod has stopped doing anything. It almost feels like your attunement has been ended. And then the last one that it rolled, you said was a 6. So that is a wisdom saving throw, please.
Eight.
Owlin falls unconscious. Well, really, he falls asleep. He awakens if he takes damage or if another creature takes an action to wake him. But Owlin just goes limp in the piercing hold of the death kiss. And then this Gothcug is going to take 5 more feet of movement to pull itself a little bit further out of reach. And that's going to end its turn. And that brings us to the top of initiative, which is Gothrock. Gothrock was the first one we detected. It comes soaring up over the side here, and it sees that nobody is attacking Gunner right now. So it's going to come over here and take an attack on Gunner. Gunner, roll 3d6.
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1. Constitution save first. This is an enervation ray.
Nat 20 on the Constitution.
Nat 20, nothing to worry about. 2, 3, 1, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so then a DC 14 dexterity save.
Dang. Oh, save.
Yes.
Whew. Well, no, still didn't get it. 12.
12. Okay. You take 22 points of fire damage as a fire ray kind of flares across you. And then the last one is a DC 14 dexterity save for the 1.
That's what I just did.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
another one. This is for the 1, not the 3. This is a Devour
Nat 20.
Magic Ray. Nice. You succeed against the Devour Magic Ray. That ends Goth Brooks's turn and brings us to, or I'm sorry, Goth Rock, and brings us to Gazer, or Gazer 2, really. Gazer 2 is going to zoom down here, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares of movement. And Jebediah Peppermint, roll me 2d4.
Why do you make me roll them?
Because it's
just
attacking
cool.
you. Yeah.
1 and a 3.
1 and a 3. DC 12 wisdom save. And then a DC 12 dex save, which will be a disadvantage because you're restrained. I guess you're also stunned, so.
That's 16 on the first one and a dex save.
You
is
actually
only
automatically
8.
fail those when you're stunned.
Oh, yeah.
You pass the first one. The second one, you take 10 points of cold damage as a frost ray begins to crystallize across your arm where it impacts you. And that brings us to the boat with Byron my Gazer on deck.
All right. Checking in with y'all. Would you rather have more information on the targets and their weak points, or do we want to just see if we can avoid them for a minute so people can maybe get out of their damaged states, or do you want me to attack?
I'd say attack. I think attacking might be nice.
Okay. Clara
That's
goes.
me and Alan's voice.
That's fine. Thank you. So Clara goes, all right, I see that one and that one are both in pretty dire straits, pointing at Jeb and I believe Gunner are both under unfavorable conditions.
I think we're all under unfavorable.
Yeah, everyone's in
Everybody-
really
I think
favorable
everybody
conditions right now.
is unfavorable.
It's a tough day. So I'm gonna point to two crew members and be like, I'm gonna need you to fire and you to fire over here. You know, we got ammunition, we got snacks, we got everything you need.
We've got ammunition, we've got snacks is the four guys slogan.
This is gonna be
That's
two
true.
ranged attacks against an attacker that is not aboard the Cugboat.
Excellent.
With a damage of 1d8 plus dex. So I will roll the attack rolls. So first we're going to attack the one that is nearest to Jeb. I can't see the screen. So
Gazer,
y'all-
I hardly know her.
Yeah, y'all make these calls. Okay, that one is a 6.
Okay. It's Mockery who runs over there, but she's like nervous about hitting Jeb, and so she misses with the ranged attack from the crossbow.
Yep, and the other is a 7.
Okay.
And that one's towards the one near Gunner.
Okay, and the other one is a 7. So that one's going to attack Gothrock. So that'll be Zopf who runs up here to attack Gothrock. It's a ranged attack, so Zopf can stay back a little bit. The 7 is not enough. And so that attack misses, kind of shoots off into the distance.
Well, that was just terrible. Why can't you do better?
Firing my Gazer, Old Gazer, and Ebba Gazer Scrooge are going next with Gunner on deck. Firing my Gazer and Ebba Gazer Scrooge will both attack FP62. They're going to just fly in towards him while he's restrained and go for bite attacks. So they're going to roll with advantage. That is a 15 on the first one and a dirty 20 on the second one.
Both of those hit.
Okay, both of those hit. FP62 takes 4 points of damage as they kind of latch on and bite him. And now they're like just up close and personal. And then the other one is Old Gazer, which is going to attack Owlin with its eye rays. So Owlin is actually, no, it's not, because Owlin's asleep. So it's going to come over here 5-10 feet up the deck a little bit, and it's going to attack Jeb while he's still stunned. So it's going to get closer and it's going to bite Jeb. It has advantage on attacks because Jeb is stunned. It rolled a natural 20. It's going to deal
This is
4 points of piercing damage as it bites him. And its little eye stalks flailing wildly as it attacks Jeb. And that will bring us to Gunner with
right.
some more enemies on deck.
So Gunner puts another explosive chunk in his grenade launcher and aims it, and he aims for the Death Kiss, but specifically the furthest corner of the Death Kiss that is away, because the Death Kiss is a very large creature. Or
Yeah.
I guess what's the actual size classification? I don't remember.
It is
but it's
class
the one that
large.
takes up. Yeah, large. So he's going to aim for this corner here specifically, so that he can catch all of the enemies on that side of the ship except for Gothrock, and only the grenade will only damage potentially, or pretty much guaranteed because Alan's asleep, Owlin, with its 20-foot range.
Okay.
But that's sort of a benefit because Alan wakes up.
Great.
So Gunner is gonna launch a grenade for that specific spot.
Go ahead and roll the hit.
All right, stay right there. 18.
18 does hit the Death Kiss.
Let's go!
Very impressive.
Okay,
as
so the death kiss, Goth Brooks, Gazer 2, Old Gazer, and Ebba Gazer Scrooge.
Ooh,
Alan is
nice.
asleep. All of those need to make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw.
Okay. The Death Kiss rolled a 15 on the
Amazing.
die plus some stuff. I'm going to roll for the Gazers as a group because there's so many of them. The Gazers rolled it was Wisdom,
It's a dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity, 13. The Gazers all fail. And then you said
Okay.
there was a Goth in there, right?
Yeah, the Goth that's
Goth Brooks.
Goth Brooks rolled an 18.
Goth Brooks. Sweet. Okay, so sorry, now I'm rolling damage.
You're fine.
I love silence when somebody says I'm rolling damage.
Right.
It's okay.
'Cause you know it's a lot of dice.
It's not. I just don't have that.
Don't break my
access to
heart,
that
just
many
tell me the
dice.
number.
No, 17 on a failed save. Half of that, which is I think technically what is that? An 8. 8. So 17 on a failed save. 8 on a successful save. Piercing damage.
Got it. 8. And then remind me which gazers you hit.
Gazer 2, Old Gazer, and Epic Gazer Scrooge.
Okay, Gazer 2's dead. It just kind of disappears in shrapnel and kind of green acrid mist. Old Gazer and Ebba Gazer Scrooge took 17 points. Yep, they both die too. Old Gazer and Ebba Gazer Scrooge are gone in little puffs of acrid green mist. As they die, FP62, who is directly next to one of them, and Jeb, who's directly next to one of them, roll DC 12 Constitution saves, please.
Alan also takes the 17 damage, but is awake.
Great. You're just trying to preserve his rage.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, no, he lost his rage as soon as he went to sleep, but
Oh,
he has
okay.
more.
He had very angry dreams.
That's his secret. He's always
Constitution
angry.
Saves. Jeb got an 11, and
Okay.
FP got a 2.
Okay, both of them take 6 points of poison damage as the acrid kind of greenish goop lands on them when the creatures are killed. And that brings us to, so there's a Goth and Gazer Beam, and then Owlin is on deck. Goth Brooks is going to attack Owlin, I think, because he's still restrained. So Owlin, roll me 3d6.
4, 6, 4 again, so I'll re-roll that 4. 4, 6, 2.
Okay, 4, 6, 2. The first attack is a paralyzing ray, DC 14 Constitution save.
Dang it.
Hopefully.
These guys are gross.
24, I assume.
24 is enough to pass.
Yeah.
Yep. So that one you succeed. You don't need to worry about it. The next one was the 6, right?
I don't remember the order of it.
4, 6,
yeah,
and
that
2. So
sounds
we'll
great.
do the 6 next.
Yep.
DC 14 Wisdom save, the sleep ray.
Oh, no.
That'd be really unfortunate.
You know what's really unfortunate? A 12.
Ugh, a 12. You fall unconscious for 1 minute, but you awaken if you take damage or another creature takes an action to wake you. And the 2 is an enervation ray, which will deal damage if you fail. DC 14 Constitution save.
Well, can I make it if I'm asleep? I think I auto-fail, don't I?
I guess, does an unconscious creature fail all saves? I think you're actually right. I don't know why I said actually. I think you're right.
For once in your life, you're right. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you only auto-fail dex and strength saves.
Okay, con
so
save, you said?
Yep, con save.
Okay.
Actually wrong.
14, what was the DC?
A DC 14. So you succeed and you don't take any. No, wait. Do you take half damage? You take half
know.
damage. You take 9 points of
Okay.
necrotic damage and you wake up again.
Your
Alan
biceps
is-
say, not today.
Alan's acting like Marcy up in here as you wake up again. And the Goth is also going to take its move action. It observed the range of fire of the attack from Gunner, and it's going to kind of flutter out of range, or what it thinks is out of range of Gunner here as it moves. In fact, it's going to go that way. And that's going to bring us to Gazer Beam. Gazer Beam is up here. Gazer Beam dashes back into combat. Is not close enough to actually attack with a melee, but Gazer Beam can attack Gunner with the little eye stalks. So Gunner, roll 2d4 and let's see what the Gazer does to you.
2d4. That's a 1 and a 3.
A 1 and a 3.
I want 2. I want 2. 3.
The first one is a Dazing Ray, DC 12 Wisdom save.
Dazer beam.
I hardly know her.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, easy pass. The next one is a Frost Ray, DC 12 Dexterity save.
Oh, that's a poor roll. That's an 8.
That's an 8. You take 10 points of cold damage as the frost kind of spreads up Gunner and kind of crackles into place, maybe along one of his legs, from the eye stalks locked in on you. And then that's going to bring us to Owlin with Jeb on deck.
Alan's awake. Yay.
He sure is.
Alan's going to try to break free of the grapple.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, an athletics check. Or can be an athletics check.
Yes.
Okay. That's a 23.
23 is successful. You wrench yourself free of the Death Kiss's grip. The talon or the tentacle that had kind of impaled into your shoulder, Alan maybe just reaches up and rips it out, and the tension uncoils it like a spring. It like unravels and soars back towards the Death Kiss.
Okay, and that's a standard action to
it
do
is.
that. Okay, so in that case, Alan is going to move. Oh, I have the wrong thing selected. Haha. Alan's going to move action here, and then bonus action with the Scimitar of Speed attack Gazer. I hardly know her.
Great. So for those of you at home, Alan rushes up the deck of the Cugboat to be even with Jebediah, and then attacks the Gazer that is attacking Jeb. Just a reminder, we have some audio only people too.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's why I'm reminding
better
you.
at that. All right, that is a 28 to hit.
A 28 is going to successfully hit.
Okay, and 9 damage.
9 points of damage. You slash into this thing, which is, it was looking at Jeb. Now its eye stalks all kind of like waver and wiggle over towards you. And as it looks over towards you, from that slash, you draw a little bit of that acrid green blood with this hit. So you know it's starting to hurt.
Nice.
And that brings us to, oh, sorry. Are you done with your turn?
That is all of Alan's move or Alan's action economy. Yep.
Great. So it's Jeb's turn with Gazer. I hardly know her on deck.
All right. Am I still restrained?
You are still restrained, but your stunned condition has ended.
Okay.
It has ended.
Oh, Owlin. We were very, very close. You can see Jeb is kind of like bruised up a little bit. He's not quite bloody, but is maybe like 1 hit point away from having blood drawn on him. And he says, "You might want to get away from me."
I can't right now, but I will as soon as I can.
There's
he
still
kinda
this
wiggles
shrieking
one
Gazer
finger
right
up.
next to you, Jeb.
Yeah, he holds one finger, like squeezes his hand like up, and he's got like the rod in it, and he goes up in your gut, and then there's a little beam, a little mote of yellow light that emerges off of the tip,
Okay.
and he is casting Sunbeam. It goes into 60-foot, 5-foot wide beam towards the Death Kiss.
Almost like it's tracing up the tentacle that is latched on
Yes.
to Jeb here. Okay.
It just
is that a
it
roll
needs
to
to
hit
make
or a save?
That is a Constitution saving throw, DC 17.
All right. That is a 16.
Nice. It takes 30 points of
Let's
radiant
30.
damage,
Okay.
and it is blinded until its next turn.
30 points of radiant damage.
Oh, you got all those
And it
big
is
eyes and you can't
blinded.
even see.
Okay.
What a nerd.
You are still restrained, just to be clear. You have not
Yes.
taken the action to make the escape. Okay.
That is correct.
Great. So then you can't take a move action, so that would end your turn.
Oh, yep, that's it.
All right.
That's it.
It is Gazer I Hardly Knower's turn with FP on deck. Gazer I Hardly Knower, still next to Jeb, is going to attack with... actually, seeing Owlin come, it's probably going to try and back off. This will provoke the attack of opportunity if you wanted Owlin. That would be your reaction.
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead and roll it.
Alan's like, oh, no, you do not. That's a 29 to hit.
29 hits.
I don't know.
With Alan's gauntlets of what is it? Ogre
Ogre
strength.
strength.
Ogre strength. His to hit and damage are increased.
Yeah, there are some items that it just makes sense to give your barbarian.
Yeah,
For everything else, there's
9 for damage
MasterCard.
again.
You say 9 more damage.
9 more damage.
It explodes in acrid green mist. Roll me a DC 12 Constitution save, Jeb and Alan, as you're directly next to this creature, and so you're trying to avoid the poison from the splatter.
Alan
damage.
passed.
Okay.
Let's see. 14 plus 2 is 16.
16 is a pass. Gazer, I hardly know her, killed off the board. Boom.
How much damage was that?
How much damage?
Oh wait, no, he
9.
didn't take any damage, right?
You didn't take any damage.
Woo! Okay.
Okay, so that's going to bring us to FP62 with the Death Kiss and Gothkug on deck.
Okay, and FP62 is still restrained by the Death Kisses.
Yes, FP
Thing.
and Jeb are both restrained.
Gotcha. FP did not move last turn, so he is going to essentially use the equivalent of his movement to mimic the undulations of the tentacle that is wrapping him, and this is going to be the equivalent of him using a bonus action for steady aim. That is going to counteract the whipping around. That's going to give him advantage on this attack, which will be canceled by the restrained.
Perfect.
Yep. And he is going to fire his rifle at the Death Kiss.
Perfect.
That is a 18 to hit.
18 hits.
And
The
that
name
is
Death
a
Kiss. I love it.
15 points of bludgeoning damage or piercing damage.
Perfect. 15 points of piercing damage as it just, the rifle shot lashes right into it. It doesn't quite hit it in the eye with all the waving tentacles and, moving.
Yeah.
Even though FP is making it easier, he still can't quite get that kill shot or whatever. But he does still hit the Death Kiss. It's a nice large target. And now you're in pretty clear skies. It's not very obstructed, so it's easy to find. FP still restrained at this point, so he doesn't get a move action. That makes it the Death Kiss's turn. The Death Kiss... Okay, the Death Kiss is going to first attack Alan with another tentacle. Whips out a tentacle to try and attack Alan and restrain him. Alan killed the other creature, so he is not engaged in combat, so it doesn't have advantage. That is it might not matter. That's a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
Okay, so it hits you for 14 piercing damage, which I believe is halved because you're raging, but you are
not
also...
raging.
Oh, okay. Then it's just 14 piercing damage, and you are grappled. The next attack that it's going to make here is a blood drain attack on FP62. Make a DC 16 Constitution save.
All right. Ooh, that's a 17.
17.
I would say it's probably something about his synth blood that's a little off.
Yeah, it could be that. But FP does not take any other damage. Noticing this, the Death Kiss is going to start moving with you. With grappled and restrained creatures, the Death Kiss can carry you. It's going to fly 5, 10, 15 feet, and it's going to drag each of you 15 feet. 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15 over the open. Actually, Wash, you can decide if you want Jeb in left square or right square. He was on a line when I saw him.
Yeah, put him in the left square. That's fine.
Great. So the Death Kiss has actually begun floating away from the Cugboat and dragging Owlin, FP62, and Jeb over the void, basically. Now that the mist directly around the Cugboat has cleared, you can see straight down to the unnavigable mist that's covering the waters beneath the pillars of eternal vigil. And you can also see from out here, you like, now that you're looking around and being scared, FP62's keen eyes off in the distance detect that there is indeed an airship moored against one of the pillars of eternal vigil, though it's not close enough to be of any relevance to this fight. And then, having brought you out this far, the Death Kiss is going to lash out with another tentacle to try and attack FP62 and see if it can hit him with piercing damage. It's basically on an intellectual pursuit at this stage. So FP is restrained. It's going to attack with advantage. That's a 17 on the die plus an 8, 25 to hit FP62.
That hits.
Okay, and it's going to deal 14 points of piercing damage. You're already grappled,
he is
so
going
it doesn't
to
make a
use,
difference.
Yeah, he's going to use Uncanny Dodge to reduce that by half. So,
Great.
like, wiggling. So
Does
that'll be
Uncanny Dodge
7
work while
damage.
you're restrained? Yes, it doesn't. It says it doesn't matter. I just read it.
Okay.
So yeah, that works. Okay, you successfully have that damage, and that brings us to Gothcug's turn with Gothrock and the boat on deck. Gothcug is going to fly over the boat, and it's going to attack the Cug boat directly. I will roll the 3d6 for its attack here to see which attacks it makes. That's a 5, a 1, and a 3. So we have the telekinetic ray is not going to do anything against a boat. The 1 is a devour magic ray. Clara, on behalf of the boat, I need you to make a save, a DC 14 dexterity save. For those of you listening who are like, how's that working? I have taken the average of the NPC crew for each ability stat and given those as the modifiers regarding the boat.
Roll good.
First roll was like leaning against something, so I re-rolled.
Great.
Hopefully that's okay. We nat 20'd.
Nat 20.
Plus
Nice.
3 dex.
It's
All right.
okay.
Devour magic does not take any effect on the boat. That would have been a big deal. Yeah. And
This is a die that my friend Nicole lent me and has been very lucky for me. Thank you, Nicole.
that's amazing. And then the sleep ray is also ineffective against the boat, so that's not going to do anything. And that brings us to the top of the initiative order in Goth Brooks, who's going to come 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It's going to dash. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It is rushing towards Gunner to work with Gothrock, basically, to keep Gunner occupied. And so it is flying down the length of the deck at very high speed, screeching, its tentacles flailing, probably scratching little furrows into the deck as it races across, flying towards the group. And that brings us to the boat's turn in initiative with Fire and My Gazer and Gunner on deck.
Question for you. I have a lightning cannon. If I shoot that at the Death Kiss, is that going to harm the creatures the Death Kiss has pulled overboard?
Yes, because it can't actually be aimed. You can just choose a side of the boat to attack with lightning damage. That was something we talked about very recently. The cannon, in-game, I mean, the cannon is one that was like found in storage and it needs a little more work before it can be reliably aimed at things.
Okay, well, I'm not going to fry them. So Clara goes like, nothing's working. It's working. We need to know what it's weak against so that we can, okay, and somebody knows something about a little bit of something everything, which is Garlel, and she's gonna find Garlel, and he's gonna roll the appropriate check to see if we can figure out the weakness of the Death Kiss. She's gonna be like, that one there that has all your friends. So you know how like everybody has that weakness, and mine is like men in tailored suits. We need to know the weakness of that thing, and you gotta know it. You gotta know it. You gotta tell it to me now, and I'm loud. I'll tell everybody.
Carlisle straightens the lapels of his tailored suit and he says, well, let me take a look at it. And he comes up to the top deck with you. You just push the hatch open at the top of the main staircase. So it's just his head kind of poking out with his dark, brimmed hat. And he kind of pokes his head out and he's looking at him. And he says, let me see here. And he's going to make a survival check to examine the creature. Go ahead and roll that survival check with the modifiers of the boat crew.
Okay, and what modifier is survival?
Wisdom.
Did you not? 18 plus
Nice.
3 is 21.
21. Nicely
Oh.
done. He looks over at it and he goes, I've seen aberrations like this before. They're immune to lightning. In fact, they generate electricity from within their bodies.
There
So
goes
you'll
my
want to make
cannon.
sure Alan doesn't try any of his lightning things around them. There's a chance it'll actually make them stronger. They have dark vision. They're pretty good at perceiving other things.
We're
but
looking for weaknesses here, Garlel.
I'm going through it. But they're intelligent creatures, which means they can be scared. They can be convinced that it's not worth their time. They can be persuaded to leave or intimidated.
Do they know any languages? Can I talk to them?
They don't know any languages you know, Clara, unless you know deep speech. They speak the language of the ancients and the evil ones.
Most of the things I say are pretty shallow.
Yeah, they pretty much know what the aboleths know. And that's...
Would the Myconid with his
No, he
shinies
wouldn't.
be
No,
able
he
to?
wouldn't know deep speech. I think your best bets against it are to use piercing type weapons in melee or magical means to try and scare it away. This is not a creature that necessarily needs to kill you, although it's strange to find one here outside of the places where they're normally found. Its normal habitat is not the material plane or this part of the material plane. So I would expect that it's here under orders, which means that it's probably defending something of importance on behalf of another creature. Death kisses usually work for other creatures. And all of these do. They're called beholder kin, and they typically work for a beholder. They're usually enslaved by and beholden to, if you'll excuse the pun, a beholder.
Excuse all puns, baby.
So we really don't want to see that. The
So you're
beholder.
saying this is the eye of the beholder?
I'm saying it could be. And killing it could probably be in its eye.
All right. Thank you, Stud Muffin. And she's going to she's going to activate the earring, but also scream, just because they're poking their heads out the top right now. Just scream out to everybody that she can, all right, we're going to try to pierce it. If you have something sharp, that would be great. And you can scare it away if you use magic, maybe make something big and scary. They can be intimidated off.
And that will bring us in initiative order to Fire in My Gazer. This little gazer is going to rush towards a gunner here. And I think 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It can just barely make it into range. And it's going to attack Gunner with its gnashing teeth. And it kind of rolls an attack like that. That is a 3 on the die. It is unsuccessful. Gunner is like, I do
That's
not
a
have time
miss.
for you. Which brings us to Gunner's turn. Gunner, I need you to make a save before your turn begins. One of the Goths is going to force you to make a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw.
All right.
Right.
That's a nat 20.
Nat 20. Gunner is not concerned about this problem. And because of the nat 20, I'll say the other one doesn't get a chance to force the same save out of you this round.
Okay.
So that brings us to Gunner's turn with some villains on deck.
Gunner is going to be forced to put his grenade launcher back over his shoulder, unsheath his short sword that looks remarkably clean because he hardly ever uses it, and slice at Fire in My Gazer.
Great. He does so.
He does a big overhand slash. That's a 12. I don't know if that'll hit.
12 is not quite enough. The gazer dodges to the side and it almost seems like it's laughing at him as it shrieks. And that is going to do anything else?
All right, that's not necessary. Gunner is going to... What is he going to do? Dum ba ba bum 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 bum. That's it. That's what he's gonna do.
All right. That ends Gunner's turn and brings us to a few of the villains, Goth Brooks and Gazerbeam with Alan on deck. Goth Brooks is going to, I think, attack Gunner with some eye rays. Gunner, roll me 3d6. Gazerbeam is going to fly in towards Gunner so that Gunner is now flanked, and Gazerbeam and Fire and My Gazer will get advantage on their melee attacks against him.
The D6 are 6, 5, and 2.
All right. We're going to start with a DC 14 Wisdom save against falling asleep.
And remember not to use anything lightning against them. They like lightning.
Fail. Gunner falls asleep and is unconscious for 1 minute unless he takes damage or okay. Gunner's awake.
Nice.
The next one is Pushing Ray, the telekinetic throw, and this is a DC 14 strength save or be pushed 15 feet away from the Goth and have your speed halved until the start of the Goth's next turn.
Fail.
Fail. Uh-oh. Gunner 5, 10, 15 feet over the open expanse on the other side of the Cugboat. I'll give Gunner a dexterity save to catch hold of the railing, since he's going to get kind of thrown over the railing there, but he's going to make it a disadvantage because he's being thrown with pretty serious force.
Okay. With my reliable talent skill.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Is a 16 a save?
Yeah, 16 would succeed.
Okay, that's the worst I can get.
Okay.
Even with disadvantage.
So Gunner grabs
I guess I'll roll just in case I get a nat 1.
Sure.
I did not get a nat 1.
Okay, Gunner grabs hold of the railing, and so you're just flipped over it. I will treat this like being prone. Like you would need to use half your move speed to stand up at the beginning of your turn, but I won't make you roll a save to hang on. And the last one is a 1, a Devour Magic Ray. You need to succeed on a DC 14 Dex save.
Okay. Same thing. The worst I can roll is a 16, so I pass.
Okay, you pass. So that's what happens. Gunner is just launched over the side of the Cugboat here. And sorry, that's actually this square, because that's where the square you were standing in. And as you're launched that way, that's okay. Never mind. So that concludes those two creatures' turns. And that brings us to Owlin's turn with Jeb on deck. Owlin's still restrained and being suspended over the void outside the deck of the Cugboat.
Jeb, you can make us fly, correct?
I can. If I do, it will drop my sunbeam. But yes, I can.
All right. And Owlin is going to, well, what is he going to do? He's going to attempt to, he's restrained, but he can make attacks at disadvantage, right?
Yes, he can make attacks at disadvantage as long as he can reach. Like he could only attack the tentacle, basically.
Yes. Well, yeah. He like over his shoulder grabs his rifle of ice knife that was repaired a while ago, and he's going to, shakily aim it and attempt to fire at the Death Kiss's eye. We're going to remember what I even need to roll for that because I haven't used it in a while. Okay.
They call that LASIK now.
They do call that LASIK. All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 9. That's not very good.
That's a 9. That's a 9 to hit.
That's a 9 to hit.
It's not enough. The Death Kiss is able to just, the tentacle that's lashing you, it sees you try to attack and it moves you to the side. As you're flung to the side like that, you have your eyes kind of, oriented away for a second, and out in the distance, you see what really looks like that steam airship that Sir Topham Sav was sailing off in the distance for just a brief moment as it disappears back into the mists far away. Like almost outside your range of vision. Sir T-Sap, thank you for the raid here on Twitch. We find ourselves now at Jeb's turn.
Okay.
With Gazer, I hardly know where on deck. Oh no, Gazer, I hardly know where's dead. So FP is on deck.
All right. I am going to turn my moat. DM, can you help me interpret this for a second?
Sure.
I would like to hit as many of these guys as possible. Will that, if I like aim it like this, will it hit Gothbrooks, Fire and Magazer, and Gazer Beam?
Anyone who the line will hit, so you start at one corner of your square, and if it touches the corner of their square, they're hit.
All right, so it touches a corner, so I could go
so
like
yes,
that.
You can hit all three of
those.
them. You would not hit Gothrock.
Okay. I am going to do that. So all three of those, like the moat turns around, it goes and shoots another sunbeam. Yeah, so the Constitution saving throw, DC 17. It's the smartest play I've got right now because he's maintaining concentration on it, and he doesn't have to attack at disadvantage. They have to dodge.
Yeah. Both gazers fail and die. What was the total save again?
17.
Okay, so a 22 is going to pass then. So Gothbrooks does not fail the save.
Okay, so he takes half of 25 radiant damage.
Great.
12.
That was such a triumphant 12. I love it.
12.
12.
Very good. So you have successfully done that. And as a word picture here for our listeners at home, the field of battle on the main deck of the Cugboat here has been just covered by these flying, flailing, sort of tentacled freak creatures. And at this stage, all of the small ones are dead. So what remains is three kind of livid looking blood red fleshy eyeballs with these stalks with smaller eyeballs kind of flailing off of them, spaghetti monster style, and like gnashing teeth. And then one really large, like 10-foot diameter sphere of kind of pink goo with a deep red eye inset in it and these really sharp tentacles kind of coming off the side. Three of those are stretched out over the void and have lashed into and grappled Owlin, Jeb, and FP62. They are now suspended over the big drop with a sudden stop, while the airship does its best at Bruiser's command to keep even with them, the thrusters having flared to life and trying to hold its position so that they don't lose you. But he's afraid to bring the ship under you for fear of hitting you and causing damage. And that will bring us to, at the end of Jeb's turn, FP62. Unless Jeb has more stuff to do.
No, Jeb does not have more stuff to do. Don't forget that Death Kiss is blind until its next turn. I don't remember if it's had its next turn yet. FP62 is going to take a Wingle Digit and pop it in his mouth and crunch it down and chew on it and eat it real quick as a bonus action. So part of FP62's previous body, he had some ciphers integrated into his systems that would allow him to cast spells. But since he is a synth now, he has to consume Wingle Digits and to power them instead of like slotting them into his body.
Okay.
So he's going to do that. He's going to cast Hex on the Death Kiss.
Okay. You're also going to roll a D100.
Okay. What is that for?
You just ate Sacrium.
Okay. Oh, nice.
The good old days.
I was like, wow, that's a table I haven't looked at in a long time.
Yeah. All right. That is a 10.
Like Zothkug turns purple.
Somewhere in the afterlife, Softcook turns purple.
FP is now a wild magic ranger. Or a wild
FP,
magic
you cast Magic Missile at 5th level.
Let's go. That's perfect.
So you see like this like the pupils of his eyes where they would like cinch down to like super focus, they just kind of glow red in the center while he's
and I think widen a little bit as he gets a contact high off the Sacrium, maybe.
yeah, they just like boom, dilate really big. So okay, Magic Missile at 5th level.
Yeah, the Hex, is that a save or is it just a thing that happens?
Let me look. It's just a thing.
Great.
It's going to take an extra D6 necrotic damage whenever I damage it.
Okay.
And I get to target an ability check of it and give it disadvantage on those.
Okay, what's its disadvantaged ability?
Constitution.
Okay. Disadvantage Constitution.
Magic missile. That's going to be 3 darts at level 2. So that means it gets an extra 3 darts. So that's 6 darts.
So
6d4 plus 6.
Nice.
All right.
Sometimes eating Sacrium's good. It's not always weird or bad.
It's always weird.
It is always weird. You're right.
Like eating a wingle digit is a strange choice.
All right. 4, 8, 12, 16 plus 6. So that's 22.
Yep.
Okay.
22 points of force damage as his hex actually like fires out of his eyes unintentionally and blasts into this guy. Then he's going
You get
to
the extra necrotic as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he takes damage.
Yep.
That's an extra 5 points of necrotic.
Nice.
And then he's going to shoot him with his rifle.
Okay.
But it's going to be a disadvantage because he didn't do his steady aim this time,
Sure.
which isn't that bad. And that is 19 to hit.
19 hits. Did you roll that at disadvantage because you're grappled?
I did.
Okay.
I
Yep,
did.
That hits.
I rolled an 11 and a 12.
Nice.
Rolled an 11 on the die for the damage. So that is 15 points of piercing damage, plus another d6 for necrotic. So that's 17 points of necrotic damage.
17 points of necrotic damage. As the rifle shot lances into kind of the pink, like pudgy skin of the Death Kiss, you see the first little trickle of acrid green blood appear, and the Death Kiss,
shoot.
its like red eye like widens
God.
a little bit, like in surprise, and I think it's going to use its reaction to let go of FP, and in like the shock of having been hit by something. So it's going to use its reaction to drop FP. FP, I'll give you a chance to use your reaction on something if you want. Otherwise, you're going to fall a lot of feet.
Okay.
Tugboat react.
I didn't come up with any reactions for the
That's our new YouTube channel. Cugboat Reacts.
Cugboat reacts.
Like, if somebody could yell to Bruiser, could we try to swoop? It's okay if not.
I think not, because it would be like moving a ship is
Yeah.
a complicated matter of thrusters and rudder. It's not really something you do quickly.
Love you, Wash. Best of luck.
So I have a thing that he could do, but it would take a bonus action.
Has he used his bonus action yet?
He did. He used it for Hex.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I have an idea. Did Clara divulge to everybody what language these things speak?
Yes, all of the information she got, we assume, has been relayed.
Mm-hmm. When it feels like it's loosening up, he is going to speak to it in Abyssal, in binary, and just kind of like and say, if you drop me, bad things will happen.
First intimidation.
I will let you roll the intimidation check, but it's going to have a very high DC because you are a creature that has been grappled by it and has only just barely drawn any blood. Like, it brought you out here for the intellectual question of like, okay, why didn't this thing's blood drain, right? So it's gonna be a high DC, but I'll let you roll it.
Can I change what he says, or did I already say it?
I think we're basically at this works or FP dies. I'll let you change what he says. Like, I don't know how you're gonna get out of this.
Would the creature be like, oh, it can speak. I need to see what it has to say.
Yeah.
No.
No, you know what? I think I already said it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Go ahead
take
and
that
roll
back.
your intimidation check.
Well, he's not trained in intimidation,
Okay.
and his charisma is -1.
Uh-oh.
So we are going to roll a d20 and see what happens.
This is not a good situation to be in here.
That is a 7.
Oh,
But Jebediah Peppermint,
But it succeeds.
seeing everything going on, and hears FP roar out at this thing, I think he'd like to make it succeed.
Here's the question I have for you, and I will let
Okay.
you decide the answer, okay? Because there's an option here for the player to say, I don't care, I'm the player, and I want the play to work.
Sure.
Does Jeb know Abyssal, and would Jeb understand the situation of what was at stake here before it was too late?
You know what? That's a good question. Let's do it this way. I'll roll an intelligence check for Jeb.
Sure.
No training, just straight intelligence.
Yep.
Not good. Not good. That is a 6.
no.
I don't think Jeb is able to interpret
yeah.
the language.
Yeah, I think he probably knows something's going on, but I don't think he knows whether he should use the rod to influence FP or influence the death kiss.
Oh, and he gets like
And
frozen in that moment.
I think in that moment of indecision, like the moment passes.
Okay. And the death kiss lashes back the tentacle and FP begins falling. FP hasn't hit anything yet. He's not taking any fall damage, but he's plummeting towards the deep beyond. And that will bring us to the death kiss's turn with some goths on deck.
Question.
Yep.
How has he started falling and how much? I need to know for reasons.
I used to have the rate of fall memorized. How fast do you fall in D&D? He Googled. In the world of D&D 5th edition, you fall 500 feet in a round.
Holy cow.
So it hasn't been a full
500
round
feet
yet.
in a round?
Apparently so, assuming you don't hit something. So we're going to say he's probably fallen, I would say 80-ish feet between the turns here, you know?
Wow, that much?
That's what Google said in 5th edition.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
It's 579 feet per round. That's what, yeah.
Dang.
It's a consistent result. Featherfall allows you to fall 60 feet per round.
Dang.
Wow. Okay. Well, the
death
thing that
kiss-
he had in his pocket is not going to work with that.
The death kiss at the beginning of its turn, having dropped FP62, is going to try and do its like blood drain thing on, I guess Jeb is next in line. So,
Okay. Well, this might solve the problem.
it's going to. You need to make a DC 16 Constitution save.
Okay. All right. That's a 4 plus 2, 6.
6. Jeb fails
Holy
and takes
cow.
22 points of lightning damage.
Whoa.
22 points of lightning damage. And not only that, as it happens, you see that green cut on the death kiss heal over.
Oh,
Okay. Owlin, sorry. I think the death kiss maybe needs to make a strength save
think you're
or
right.
check or
I
something
think you're right.
as Jeb erupts into a Tyrannosaurus Rex after having drawn blood.
Jeb suspended over the void. As a reminder to our listeners, Jeb being suspended over the void, FP just dropped next to him, turns into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The death kiss does not pass its strength save, and so Jeb is no longer restrained as his size changes in a big way. Are you colossal? Is that the size?
Huge.
So that's what, 3 squares?
Yes.
1, 2, 3 squares of size. If you are not watching this on YouTube, you should look at it on YouTube just to see Giant Jeb. Giant Jeb is big enough to hit Owlin. Owlin's going to get swung out this way, and the creature, the Death Kiss, is going to make a save to hold on to Owlin. And this one, it's going to make it advantage because it's just basically being batted to the side. It does succeed. So, Alan, you remain restrained. What
happens to Jeb?
That is a great question. Wash, Jeb was 2 squares away. So I think that he was 10 feet away for those of you listening at home. So I think there is a chance that like the T-Rex's feet, depending on which way around it is oriented, I think its little toes might be on the Cugboat and he might have a chance to like lean in here. He's not restrained or grappled. What do you want to happen? Like speak into the moment for me.
I have a question about the map. Because it looks like the deck is 10 feet wide, but if you look at the rooms below, they're 20 feet wide. So that tells me there's like a slanting.
Yes,
so
the
technically
ship is
like
bulbous.
5
it's kind of
feet
shaped
out
like
on
a
either
horseshoe.
side. So he would be like essentially on the side of it as it would slant down. Probably difficult terrain. He is directly between the 2 fins, like the blades on either side with the engines on them.
Yeah, he's basically like right on the thruster almost. I will give you 2 options. Either way, the T-Rex is able to keep its grip on the Cugboat. In one of them, the T-Rex is going to need to roll a save to keep its grip for being here. It'll probably be a dexterity save because it can't move very much and its arms are teeny. In the other one, the Cugboat will take 80 hit points of damage as the T-Rex's massive foot claws dig into the side of the hull. And that's what holds it in place. There's a total of 400 hit points on the Cugboat. I believe it maybe has taken 20 points of damage or something like that so far.
I don't think... I think I'm going to do the dex save.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a dexterity save as a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Natural 1, baby.
Oof. The T-Rex appears and teeters and then begins leaning backwards and backwards. It technically passes Owlin if you want to try and do something with a reaction. But otherwise, I think the T-Rex is about to plummet as well.
Alan's just gonna, okay, does Alan have the head knowledge to know whether or not Jeb can cast spells as a T-Rex?
Jeb's done this once before, so I'm sure he's explained it to Alan afterwards in like an after-action report.
I assume Alan knows that Jeb cannot cast spells as a T-Rex.
Yes.
Okay. What do you do?
Alan could try raging and try to like catch it, maybe like a run across the T-Rex as it teeters. He would have to break out of his bonds.
Yeah, you're still restrained.
I guess Alan could try raging and catching it and make the death kiss hold them up.
Yeah, that's sure.
I don't know what else there is.
Is that something he can do as a reaction? Will you allow that?
Sure, I'll let him try.
Okay. All right, Alan will somehow bonus action rage, and try to hold on to something. Sure. What would he roll for?
He's
that?
restrained
Athletics?
in place. Maybe he's trying to catch and like push him up. Let's make it a strength save. Alan's like, fine, you want to hold me out here? I'm going to try and push this T-Rex back into the deck of the Cugboat.
Okay. That's an 18.
I don't know what the DC is to hold a T-Rex up. Maybe an 18's high enough that the T-Rex can try again. Maybe it gets another shot at scrabbling with its feet. Like even if Alan only gives it that quick minute, you know?
Alan just like kicks as hard as he can, like kicks
Like
the
a
T-Rex.
big old punt. Just punts this T-Rex in the back.
Goes for the kick save.
Yep.
How about this? We'll call that the aid action. And you
Okay.
can roll, Jeb, you can roll a second version of that save. Basically, you're rolling it at advantage.
I mean, okay, I'm not going to complain, but it was a natural one too. But let's see here. Let's see what we get. We'll see what we get. What happens?
Let's see what we get.
Is it another nat 1?
I don't know how I feel about this.
Is it another nat 1?
It's a natural 20. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, then you can decide how you feel about it. You tell me whether you want to keep that nat 20 and have the success, or whether you think it's too much of a gimme and the T-Rex plummets.
How many of Wash's characters can plummet in one
Either
evening?
way, it's narratively insane, whatever happens
Yeah.
here. So, like, the story is going to be dope no matter what happens.
Let me know if this is a stretch. Is it too much to ask that because of the natural 1 and because of a natural 20, like these are some pretty mixed results, right?
Yeah.
Could he plummet, but having snapped his jaws onto the tentacle of the death kiss? Like, could he pull it and Owlin down with him?
Yes. I think that's possible. Is that the play?
I say
I don't want to endanger Owlin's character.
Alan is in danger no matter what.
Well,
You're
if
a
Jake is
T-Rex
cool
and
with
you
this-
can't make him fly. So
You're also a T-Rex who like can't really strategize or communicate with his teammates, you know? Like this is
I
quite
mean,
the play.
just as a player to a player, like if you're cool with that happening to Owlin, I think that's the play.
yeah, let's do it.
T-Rex Jeb latches his jaw onto maybe 4 of the flailing tentacles of the death kiss. Roll the damage from a bite attack for me. We'll give it that damage, that piercing damage before anything else happens.
That is 32 points of piercing damage.
32 points of piercing damage.
And technically it's grappled.
Yes. Okay. Great. And definitely like with the strain and everything, like some more blood appears. This creature is bloodied again for sure.
And a bad thing happened because it let FP go.
Yeah.
The
Clara.
warning was not heeded.
Clara, from where you and from where you and Garlel have your heads poked out of the hatch, and Gunnar with these goths closing in on him, you see
Gunner's
between
like still
them.
barely hanging onto the railing.
You're like looking through the railing and past the goths. You see FP drop, and there's a heart-stopping moment of pause, and then Jeb turns into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it looks for a second like he's about to board the tugboat. And the laugh at Jeb's incredible contingencies dies in your throat as instead the T-Rex topples backwards, losing its balance. And then for just the briefest moment, you see Owlin suspended alone, the leader of Four Guys Ventures and Vibes, facing off against this death kiss, before with a loud snap, the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus close and both are yanked down and out of view. And on that note, tonight's Dungeons and Dragons session comes to a close.
Holy cow.
Well, you and me, at the end of the video, kinda awkward, kinda waiting for you to subscribe and all that. I'm just gonna head out.